All right, brother.
What is up, you guys? Oh my gosh, man. What a great day so far. How you guys doing tonight?
Hope everyone maybe spent the day with some family or partook in some of your local events. We had Ben on scene early this morning. It was kind of great ceremony they did in respect, really respectful. Had some great speakers. You had the incident on the bridge, of course. Why don't you tell us a little more about that? What was that all about from your perspective?
Yeah, no. I know you guys were with us earlier when we were doing the live feed, and no, we had every year the Patriot riders in our particular area, they coordinate with not only the city, the people. They also go down to the sheriff's office. They let them know, and because the sheriff doesn't have as much deputies to take off and obviously, lock down the bridge, they temporarily basically give the Patriot Riders jurisdiction of that bridge for like 15 minutes to basically secure the bridge so we can do our, the throwing of the wreath in the river and kind of stuff. And like you were saying earlier in the feed, people get so incredibly pissed off because we're, like you said, they were going to get a cup of coffee and come back really quick or something of that nature. And they weren't trying to take their kids back home or to school or late or nothing like that. And like just like you were saying, some guy had whipped around the 7-Eleven parking lot and eased his way in and was literally racing down the bridge that where people were walking everywhere. Almost like if you go to like a carnival and they shut down the streets and people are walking left and right and there comes a car zooming through the pass of it. Thank God nobody got hurt. And that
Taboo. What was
guy
the whole taboo thing on this?
so you ready for this, you guys? The whole thing to boot.
Taboo.
He was a veteran.
A
He was
veteran.
a veteran. He had a veteran's license plate. Oh! It was insanity. Here, a veteran was just screaming through there during it was he was lucky the cops were there. I could say because there was a lot of veterans who were really pissed, and they were kids. My kids, my children were there. I mean, luckily I was on
So,
the
um,
other side of the area, and they weren't
yeah.
there when he was speeding by. I mean, it was amazing.
And I guess most of the people that were there, they are part of it. Like, we don't ever really have extra people that hang out and do, you know. So there would have been nobody over there in that area to block him from coming in or however he got in. You know, maybe something blocking a car park, but
Well,
he,
the
he
Patriot riders took and lined up their bikes all the way and basically as a
yeah.
blockade.
Yes.
And we did have there was a couple of Patriot riders standing out there on front of the blockade with their flashlights and their
Okay.
good thing. You know how we do. And hey,
Yes,
this
it's
is how you
really
go here,
professional,
go
folks.
here.
You got like the row
Yeah, no,
guards,
these
row
this
guards post. You know, they're
yes,
there.
they have yes. This is
That's
they've been doing this like for years, and every single one of those guys that like a friend of ours, what he was a commander, oh
yes,
30 years ago, and he's been there since, and they've been doing this every single year. We also do. And Mike, you've been a part of this ceremony many times when Mike and I were really heavily active in this particular legion in our neck of the woods. We would replace the flag in town, which is like a 50 by 20
yeah.
foot flag. It's huge. And they shut the little small part of town and boom. So this isn't something that, we came to you guys. And that was why Mike and I, when we talked about it, we wanted to bring this kind of footage. This is what the expansion of the channel's about. And you guys are
Yeah.
really getting in on the ground floor of, you saw the quality. And the thing is it wasn't, the phone, it's signal. The same issue that we have when you guys call in and it's choppy. You're like, but I got almost $1,000 cell phone. Are you crazy? I got, signal. Even with
Yeah.
the best cell phones, if you don't got signal. So we're still trying to overcome a lot of those technical issues. But besides the crazy incident, the cops were called. They took care of him. Good thing. I just to boot was that it was a veteran,
That's
and
crazy.
he got
He
heavily
knew
video
better. He knew
camera.
exactly what was going on. I
He
can tell you
knew
that
exactly
much.
what's going on. He couldn't play dumb on that one. So he's definitely going to get called out on that for sure. He's who knows who he is, but there was plenty of pictures taken, and when Mike and I get some of the other photos, that may be the other video that maybe going, maybe a little meme, something about veterans who don't understand what they serve, or oath keepers. So we'll definitely get a little something out to you guys. We have to do some coordination again, technology, a little back end garage talk and IT work, and we'll get some videos out to you a little bit sooner on. But besides all that, man, great day, lots of love, and it was great to be beaming in the show. That was awesome, Mike. Thank you for sure.
Yes, that was a great, that worked out. We already got plans for next year, folks. If we the software here, I can have all this fired up, shoot down there myself, and then we can beam in, and I can have control with a tablet of sorts to have control of functions, to be able to switch between cameras, maybe have a little bit of a signal with, you know, a hotspot or something set up to get better signals and make sure it's in better quality. So we're thinking. I want to welcome all the mods, all the Patriots here. We got the mods, and I see Amy and Elle, and scan up, make sure I'm not missing anybody. It looks like the only two that are here, but awesome. That's great. Another.
I'm gonna hit this like button up here, by the way, because I forgot to do it when I first came on. And it's like, this is awesome, kind of a little ritual. I'm trying to beat the algorithm however I can.
So. Got about 300K. So we started off, that video, folks, was Trump. That was his official Twitter, and I guess he had a video that went crazily wild today. He posted the one 11 hours ago, and it's got over 2 million views. Here, I'll show you. Let me get rid of the banner. So we got this little over 2 million right now, a little 2.01 million views, and that was the one we came in on. An Arlington National Cemetery. Awesome. Make that a little bigger. And then there's this other one here we can quickly watch. It's 34 seconds. This one was 9 hours ago. It's from the White House. It's got 1.81. Off.
Sweet. Yeah, man. Happy days says happy days 11. Ka-cha-ka-chow. Yeah, no, dude. It's all you guys out there. I mean, we've talked about that before, even on the earlier one, what today was about, and it was such an honor to be even here with you guys, even with Woodman earlier, and with you, Mike, just being able to just remind that it's like, we talk to a lot of people who don't really think about that and think about why do we even go out there? Why do we even stop today and take a pause of what happened? And, you know, while they're able to spread their fascism, just as we're able to spread our conservative constitutional ideas. And there has to be a mixture of freedom. And there's people who died for that, man. And it's just pretty crazy to think that, you know, I see it here, you know, Spy in the Sky 777 says, hi from flood zone, Oklahoma. I mean, nice. It's like people are going through some crazy things right now. And it's like, even just remembering, it's like, man, it's almost, yeah, I mean, shoot, there's tornadoes in certain areas. I mean, you're talking crazy weather, but we're all still above ground. At least we can take a little pause for those who are not, you know. So
yeah, we definitely got to remember what today's about, folks. Actually, the thing I did with my neighbors around here and everything, there was a couple of us veterans there, and we actually, you know, did a plate. Matt put we had the lemon, the salt, we had the upside down wine. We had a lot of it. We missing a few things, but it was still really, really nice. And then we had almost everyone, led in prayer, and it was like really, really, really nice. So lots of people in here tonight. Yeah. Thanks for joining in, folks. We're really, really
you guys. I mean,
excited. We'll get started here in a minute. We're just easing in, talking with you guys, talking about the day, the weekend. It was awesome.
I'll try to call out as much as you guys in the chat as I can as we kind of go on. So if I fumble up your guys' name, like Swamp Frong and like Thorn from before, Anon Texan, Joshua Elvis, Dave Woodward, Devin and McCrae, all you guys. I'll try to do as fast as I can during weekend because it's Mike and I have been talking pretty heavily about the fact that these things we're doing purposely so we can engage you guys almost directly and in the way of recognizing who's all here. I mean, this is just amazing. The fact that you guys want to share this time with us. So
I'm also
Mom Torres.
I was telling Ben that on maybe this Tuesday I was going to start something up like a Twitter trash talk where we will literally, for an hour maybe I'll go in and we can just scan through different tweets of some of the left nutballs going on, because that's a pretty big issue right now, folks. We need to tackle a little bit, maybe engage in a little more, is because the more and more we go along, they're not making sense. Everything they stood for just 4 to 5 years ago on immigration, on all this stuff, has been totally flipped because it's what Trump is doing now, or opposite of globalist agendas. I don't know, but it's crazy. And there's not really any answers for it from their side. They're just flip-flopping.
So yeah, like talk a mega trash talk Twitter Tuesdays or something like that.
Yes, so we're going to go into Twitters, some of these leftists or whoever. We'll check out the good people that we like and want to hear from, but we're going to do a lot of the, Pelosi's and the Waters, and we're going to read them. And then maybe in the chat, you guys will give us what we should respond back. And collectively, we'll pick, Ginger D said the best thing, and then we're going to post that from the Patriot Hour. Boom. I mean, we're not going to do anything against, what policies.
Yeah, no,
we know the rules, so we want to walk that line or stay away from it. But we don't, if we get shut down, we get shut down. We got about 10,000 over there on the Twitters, but that's something we can do.
Yeah, because we also were talking about
want good replies anyway. We want to hit them with facts or
yes,
a little bit of snootiness is okay, or
Union.
Well,
the
West
bottom
Virginia.
line is yeah, there you go. Come on, Storm Gale. No, the bottom line is the fact that we've been talking a long time about one of the things we want to integrate into the show is a little bit of not only comedic relief a little bit, but it's also a little bit of trash talk, because we don't really get to we do have, like, I want to see him in handcuffs and I want to see him in the mainstream and they need to be in orange and all shackled up and scooting across and all for all to see. We all want that.
Yes.
But this could be a fun release for a little of the steam, if you will, that's been building in the pressure cookers of this craziness that you're talking about, how the way they think that left is right and up is down and black is white.
Yes.
You know how that's
Storm
all
Gale
about.
says they're not flip-flopping. They were fakes all along. I can almost agree with that. I don't normally attack, I guess on this show we can say it. Yes, that's exactly what I believe. Or their handlers are running out of ideas because they're blackmailed, so they have to. I mean, they might even say, well, wait, a couple of years ago I was for this. It's going to, well, we don't care. Get out there and go do it. And it's like now they're really not liking the situation they're in, with their handlers or the blackmail, or for whatever reason they got to pitch whatever idea it is. It doesn't make sense anymore. So what I meant was just we'll hit them with what they did in the past. Not that they'll ever give us an answer of a good one.
Like John Pike said, great, hit him with the facts.
Yes.
And that's kind of interesting because, well, if you think about just a basic idea of if all of us collectively, like here, there's 397 people in us doing this with us right now, right? If we all focus all of our energies on one post and one reply, how sweet and smooth and you know what I'm saying? Like how much information, sometimes we have all this minds to get the perfect post to give them back to like, well, what about this? Or, I mean, so I think it's pretty cool that the idea, the fact we can do that. And we want to somehow set it up to where it's not every live show, but like, hey, on Tuesdays, it's Mega
piece,
Trash Twitter Talk
piece.
Tuesdays.
Folks,
William Bolin.
Yeah, no, it's a way to get through some of the, I go through those, lots of the different Twitters anyway, folks.
Yeah, it's almost like we're bringing in some of the stuff we do in Garage Talk and get up with ideas. Some of these, breaking news. Did you hear what this person just said? Or like, one of the little, hey, Trump tweeted this and this came out. And there's, There's a lot of crazy wars going on there, and there's a lot of I guess it's kind of petty in some aspects because it doesn't really hold much weight on the mainstream. Like when we talk about like, what's happening building the wall or like, stopping human trafficking, but it also gives you a little insight to how these crazy people think. Because if you're not crazy, you'll never understand what crazy is. And I don't use that word like just flailing it around. Like we're breaking down Mike's been breaking down for since day one how these people think crazily and how to try to help you guys out, and even ourselves discover if you can somewhat understand how crazy these people are, then at least you understand what they're trying to project onto you, and you can make a maneuver accordingly.
Yes. So
Baltimore Brian says midnight SWAT teams. I like that negotiation tactic as well.
Nobody's
maybe
special.
Employed.
The gunner's wife. Dave Woodward, LOL, I'm insanely sane. Joshua Elvis, if you put it all together on camera, man, it's bad. Yes.
I would agree, definitely. I mean, I think that's what's happening as well. Is I think this D class is they're starting to kind of put it all together for a lot of those who weren't able to clearly connect the dots, like we've all been screaming here for quite some time. So I would agree with you 100% on that one. Snow behind green, Ben, LOL. Gotta understand the criminal mind. Mm-hmm. I attempted to go into a little criminal law early on, and I couldn't get into that so much, man. It's the mind of somebody who lies and deceives, and it's just so foreign to my morals and characters.
All right, we're gonna jump into this proof here. I want to show you guys. So somebody put this one together. This is a Q post from 12 November of 17, just about a week or so after, about 12, 13, 14 days after the whole Q started. So Patriots don't sleep. 40,000 feet versus necessary to understand. All right, so they're flying high. Paint the picture, decrease altitude. We will not fly that high again. So it keeps coming. Anyway, we get down here, and they had posted new age of enlightenment. You take that, and Trump just tweeted that on the 24th of May. The real trade war began 30 years ago, and we lost. This is a bright new age, the age of enlightenment. We don't lose anymore. So then they just basically show you that was Trump here. Remember all that 80% covert, 20% in the public eye. That's crazy.
And that's kind of a good, the old 80-20 rule, and that's kind of can go for a lot of things.
CNN for sale. And they're just now laying off massive amounts of people over at CNN, announced today, folks. That's
we'll probably see the ripple effects in their current stock holdings and the amount of options you can take to dump them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Happy Dave. Amen, Dave 111. Yeah, you guys are awesome, man. I love the fact that you guys are feeding off what we're saying and having you guys' thing here. This is sweet, man. Dave Woodward, Wells Fargo. Oh, what's up? Are we kind of popping in half in on your guys' convo over here?
CNN layoffs.
CNN. Emily Shields, CNN Satan friend. Hey, that sounds awesome.
Oops. All right, so the rumor mill becomes reality when CNN undergoes layoffs. The rumor mill has been churning, especially in the media world. People talked about the possibility of CNN pink slipping people. Of course, the network denied that. So let's go to news. Some health journalism staffers. Wow. 7,000? Oh, that's Ford. It's like, did CNN even have that many people? CNN was a handful of people shortly after
only
Trump
in their propaganda department.
Only in the propaganda department. It takes a lot of them to get that little wheel going. CNN lays off handful of employees shortly after Trump points out the fact that the ratings are way down. It's like, oh, are they? And they looked, and then they're like, yeah, we need to lay some people off.
Oh, actually, we got.
CNN, the go-to network for your anti-Donald Trump coverage, have announced some major layoffs only a few weeks after calling rumors of letting the staff go a crazy rumor by Trump or whoever. Much of the network's Atlanta-based staff that covers health stories has been laid off. They don't need that anymore. Though not many specific details about the layoffs are known, a source told Fox News that basically the whole division will lose their jobs as a part of a normal course of business. Our news gathering team made a small, they don't have one of those anymore. They're letting the actual field agents, so anyway, yeah, you get it. Yeah, we don't need that.
Well, it's funny. I'm hearing too. You guys are saying in the comments that Ford is also going through a crazy amount of layoffs. I haven't looked into that, but I mean,
Oh, I just had that up. I was like, that's why I was like,
yeah,
wow,
I'll
right
just
here. I think it was right here.
say,
There,
we were
boom,
saying-
one before it. I could read that. I could read that. Let's see here. That's 7 days ago. Ford announces 7,000 layoffs just ahead of the Trump's Midwestern rally. 900 salary, and then I guess the rest.
so that's crazy.
5,000 union or something.
Oh, Joshua Elvis, I'm hoping Ford is moving them over to the ravine.
Where's the ravine?
I don't know if it was a ravine or riverin or over to riverin. I don't know, across the pond. I don't know. That's just awesome. I see
Over
that
to
something's
Riverin,
happening,
Might be a place.
I would agree too. Lonnie Christopher, all automakers are laying off. People can't afford their $72,000 vehicles, and I would agree with that 100%. Vehicles shouldn't cost more than homes. No way. No way. And I said, well, what
Yeah.
about, Rivian is the new Ford Electric. Okay, that's right. I've been hearing about that. The newest. I don't really get in the whole car thing, but yeah, Ford's electric car.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense. I thought
So that's
I thought it was
maybe-
maybe a town like over just or
Sobian Green, Lonnie, no kidding, 40K for a truck for my hubby. Yeah, I tack a little bit more on that for some of the stuff that I mean, these new vehicles are just insanely expensive. Wow. So, what up, Valerie?
fiat currency to end soon, July. I don't know. I don't like to put dates on stuff because I do not know, and I don't like to pretend that I know. And it's not that I'm scared to be wrong, and I don't have enough knowledge on that one. Who was that?
What is it, the
Gordon
Fed-
Reading.
Fed ends
Gordon
soon?
Reading at Patriot Hour. Fiat currency to end soon, July. Don't know.
Well, we know there's been a bunch of things pointing to this year. We know that the Economist magazine from the 80s showed a picture of a phoenix with a 2018 digital currency coin on a chain sitting on top of a pile of burning money, which was the world monies, different versions of them. And we know that Trump did tweet out that this was going to be the last year you filed your taxes in the way you do. It's going to be highly revised, which means, yes, we just filed not too long ago here your 2018 taxes that just passed in here in 2019. So, I mean, The Economist, that could be interesting. They have the same date as the taxes where Trump had tweeted out, hey, this is going to be the last time you file taxes like you're used to. It's going to be highly revised. So I believe something is definitely around the bend, maybe at our doorstep, not so much way off in the fields anymore. So, when is it coming? It's hard. I don't know. We don't know.
There's a lot that has to happen before money just gets reset here, I would imagine. But some of this stuff is at the very tipping point. And with that being said, let's jump into this article. I'll read a little. Ben can read a little. But this is important stuff, folks. And we're beating a dead horse sometimes with it. But you'll understand it real well by the time we're all done and it actually happens. And you'll be able to. So anyway, in the deep state coup attempt, all roads lead back to Barack Obama. Make it a little bigger. So, natural news here with Democrats now launching. This is DC Dirty Laundry, by the way. You can check them out. The link will be down below. Natural news with Democrats now launching an all-out and desperate attacks against President Trump's Attorney General William Barr, with signs emerging over the past week, plus that the deep state traitors may indeed finally face a justice for their attempted coup against President Trump. We'll take a look within this new ANP story at more new evidence, and that all the coup roads lead back to Barack Obama, and that it is time for the coup plotters to be held accountable, as heard in the videos at the bottom of this story. So, article by Stephen Stanford, republished from the All News Pipeline, ANP. So, as Gateway Pundit reports in this news story, the Steve Quayle has linked on his website Monday morning the latest former Obama official to launch failing attacks upon Barr is former Obama AG Eric Holder, who called Barr not fit to lead the DOJ. That despite the fact that Barr led the DOJ for George H.W. Bush from 91 to 3. How did he suddenly become unfit to lead the DOJ after being confirmed by the Senate just months ago? So that's an interesting thing. Holder previously described him as Obama's wingman. Holder accused Barr of protecting President Trump and asserted that the Attorney General stated his probe of the Intel FBI for political reasons. He's not fit to lead the DOJ, Holder said. Holder, AG Barr, has deliberately misrepresented Mueller report. He stated examinations of the conduct of the Intel FBI personnel without a predicate for political reasons. He is protecting the president. He does not stand up for the good of the people he leads. He is not fit to lead the DOJ. So there's your whole quote from Holder. So actually it sounds like Barr may be the perfect person to lead the DOJ, which long ago sold out to the American people to protect the Clinton crime family. Here's a little meme by Ben Garrison. The party is over. So, all right, we'll let Ben read here a little down.
According to this new story from DC Whisperers, newly discovered evidence suggests that none other than Barack Obama had conspired with foreign powers to overthrow President Trump. As PJ Media had reported, in what must have been a very surprise move to Obama's deep state, Giuseppe Conte, the Prime Minister of Italy, recently fired top management of 3 Italian intelligence agencies. Full agency, people, not just Italian intelligence personnel, but agencies.
Fired the top management of 3.
Management.
So 3 different agencies. You got all the top echelon.
Reporting that moves are being looked at as a Conte government response to the previous government's coordinated surveillance activity with U.S. officials during the 2016 election. They went on to report that all of this points directly at the former CIA head John Brennan and the infighting between the former U.S. intelligence heads, hence that this is true from the DC Whispers. Wow. Just this week, Comey attacked Brennan, and Brennan attacked back. Now, Italy apparently to be disclosing Brennan as a primary player in the failed coup against President Trump. Whoa. Does anyone believe such a thing could have taken place without Barack Obama's knowledge and approval? No way. And I agree 100%.
Now we know from Friday, just Friday, folks, that memos are released from Judicial Watch. I think it was Judicial Watch, but all I know is I heard this. It's validated. It was on a couple of mainstreams, and then I got on. I just don't know who did it. There's a lot of little groups out there now, great groups, watchdog groups. All right, we need them. That Brennan was going to the White House every day and directly updating Barack Obama off, not during a presidential briefing, so it wouldn't get in the paper. Yeah, it was. He was handing him a folder of stuff, and then there's all the texting that was going to Stroke and them that Obama wanted to be updated by Stroke, like he had to report directly to the president, and they all felt like they were on this mission. They had the president's approval. They were all running around. It's just the funny thing is all this is going to come out. Everyone's exhausting all their answers of like it looks really bad, so they say things that quite don't make sense. But you're going to let them say it, and then we're going to go back one step and say, okay, so this is What about before you guys got the FISA and you're using all these foreign countries and directly spying on them That was the second time you guys did it to get legit looking. This whole first one, there's no answers for. So that's why these people are being fired all around the country. The UK, the people are stepping down. They're crying.
They're running scared.
They're crying.
Yes.
But they say something real quick beforehand, but they're really feeling sorry for themselves. But they'll say like, I really love this country. But they're crying because they're going to, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to save face along with some convictions as well.
Right, I'll read a little more here. With a very real coup attempt by Obama's deep state president, Trump thankfully exposed and hopefully soon prosecuted. President Trump may have a potent new tool in his hands to do just that. As we read in this news story from the Daily Caller, multiple senior officials have stated that President Trump plans on invoking the Insurrection Act, last invoked by George H.W. Bush in 1992 to quell the Los Angeles riots. Could the 1807 Act also be used by President Trump to round up enemies of America within? Much more of that on the next several sections of this story below. First, from the Daily Caller. So we got a lot to get through, but we're just going to keep stopping. We'll talk a little bit. President Trump is planning on using possibly the Insurrection Act to remove illegal immigrants from the United States, the Daily Caller has learned. According to multiple senior administration officials, the president intends to invoke the tremendous powers of the act to remove illegal immigrants from the country. We're doing the Insurrection Act, one official said. Under the Insurrection Act of 1807, the president has the authority to use the National Guard and military in order to combat unlawful obstruction of rebellion within U.S. borders. The act was last invoked in 1992 by George H.W. Bush to quell the Los Angeles riots, and was also used by Eisenhower in 1957 to enforce school desegregation in the South, where they were refusing to do it.
Well, it's interesting because the Insurrection Act actually has it's kind of a little piggyback thing on another one that I know you touched on. You did a great show. This was a while ago, but we all just said yes. The Insurrection Act is this set of the fourth of laws passed in 1807 to govern the U.S. president's ability to deploy troops within the U.S. to put down lawlessness and insurrection and rebellion.
So what do you call it, Ben, if you have, like we said, people going to these foreign countries and they're not for his agenda? They want the opposite. And that alone is a bunch of traitors within our country at the higher levels. And then you're talking about illegal immigration or,
anything. And so, but it also is interesting is the act aims to limit presidential power as much as possible. Now listen to this. Relying on state and local governments for initial response in the event of insurrection.
So you got states that
act
are
with the Posse Comitatus Act.
Yeah, we've covered all
limited and delayed presidential powers for the law enforcement. So they like to use these two little acts kind of hand in hand. And if one doesn't kind of work because the state's not doing it, they're not taking care of these deep state people, that's not going to work. But the act of Posse Comitatus is pretty much for the states. If this is happening in D.C., D.C.'s not a state. So this is where they're going to have to pull some of this apart and go in just with the Insurrection Act, because they're having to represent, if you can use those terms, the United States of America and the people, the crimes against the United States of America. I.e., the president, the attorney general, will be setting up stuff to bring charges on a federal level to these people, treason, what have you, all this kind of stuff against the people, we the people. If you ever see these crazy, the United States versus so-and-so, United States versus so-and-so, and then you have ones of United States of America versus so-and-so. So is it for the U.S. or for the United States of America? So, we know this has happened before. And I find it really interesting that the Insurrection Act comes up in the fact could be how it happens. And that could be so far as to go back and say, hey, the Federal Reserve is unconstitutional and the people who did that was illegal and therefore we deem it this, and they stop it immediately. We don't know how this is going to happen, but the Insurrection Act is interesting in the way it applies to D.C. and the states are different with the Posse Comitatus Act, which
Yes,
you
it's a
covered
couple of
greatly.
forms of. This is awesome, folks. So we're going to keep reading to get through here. And again, we'll keep stopping at good points to talk. And then when we're done, we'll give a really good thing and take some questions over this. But so an official expressed concerns that Trump's use of the act's powers would face a legal challenge like everything else, right? Pointing to the lawsuits against the president's travel ban and from majority Muslim countries. However, as the official noted, the travel ban ultimately prevailed in the Supreme Court. See, they always talk about how that didn't go, but it eventually, just shortly after, it went to the Supreme and passed. In addition to the Insurrection Act, the president is also considering declaring the country full and insisting that the U.S. can no longer handle the massive influx of illegal immigrants. 2019 is currently on pace to reach the highest levels of illegal immigration in a decade. So that's a pretty serious issue there. Go ahead here, Ben, read some of that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we talked about this as well. Should President Trump use the Insurrection Act to round up enemies of America within? As Mike Adam reports in the recent story over Natural News, it should be very clear to President Trump by now there is no open rebellion against the president or against his presidency. The Insurrection Act passed by Congress in 1807 allows presidents to deploy the National Guard, U.S. military troops, to combat rebellion against the United States and America. The act has been invoked. We talked about the L.A. riots. It is clear that President Trump now recognized the open rebellion against America being committed by the governor of California, mayor of quote-unquote sanctuary cities.
Oops, sorry.
Get back in there.
Right,
no
click
worries.
the
We'll
wrong
get you with
button.
people now.
There you go.
Oh, clickety-clack it in.
There it is. All right.
So these governor of California and other mayors of quote-unquote sanctuary cities and fake news journal terrorists who are brainwashing Americans. I like that. Journal terrorism. That's true.
Journal
who
terrorism.
are brainwashing journal terrorism, who are brainwashing America to hate their own country. The ongoing land invasion supported of the United States of the America is an act of war being openly supported by Democrats and leftists who
That's
are
right.
using illegal immigrants. Think about that, you guys.
And I want to stop here real quick. I ran across the video just real quick, folks. I think his name's Anonymously.
Anomaly.
Yeah, but it was just a nice video he put up. He's like, my whole life I've heard of and this is just a small fraction. I mean, this article is talking about Democrats, but he was talking about his whole life that he heard that Republicans were the party of racism, and then he's like, you'll hear that people said, you're not in the beginning, the Republicans weren't, and it was the Democrats, but they flipped, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that's what I heard, they flipped, and it's like, that's the guys that got put out there, and he's like, and then I always thought it flipped from talking to people in the early, late 1800s, early 1900s, somewhere, and he's like, no, so I looked into it, and it's like, if you look into it, folks, like the Democrats didn't even have their first black person in, I don't know if it was Congress or something that they ever voted into, like 1993. And then he looked up the origins of the KKK. They were brought up by the Democratic Party to rid the Republican Party of black Republicans. That's what that was
National
brought. So all this stuff had to flip, they're saying. And yet that's the party of racism, because every time you tune in to CNN and they have the slew of people they have on, some people will say, no, you can't listen to him. He's just white. Like if it's a black person and they think that no matter what, that the person is not, they pitch into you to vote for woman or race. They're doing much, much worse things than racism. I don't even know what you call it, but they project that. They say it real quick with us for whatever reasons. And I'm not a Republican, definitely not that. It's like, we're constitutionalists, but I do line up with the right a lot more issues, and this is nuts, this whole left thing but they build you up to vote on for all the other reasons, and even if you're overly or really good and qualified, the best person for the job, they start coming up with these, well, we got to be fair, and this person, they might, they just come up with the most asinine And honestly, it's the reason they do that is to get what they want. So it doesn't always quite make sense. They just talk. They just talk to talk, and it doesn't make sense, actually. That's the bigger picture. So, but that
Yeah,
was
and I
interesting.
mean, what a great one from Anomaly, because he really painted a picture very well. It's like where we were told it was flipped. So if you just stop and think about that, you mean to tell me that overnight
Point
something
to me
happened
how
and
it
they
all flipped and when. Like when.
where, how, who, why? I want all the investigative techniques broken down. on
Think
this
about
one.
it. If your party was based off that and you never truly went away, think about it. These people that are on that side are tearing down statues and all this stuff to get rid of systematic racism and all these things, but they don't tear down their own party. Why don't you bury that shit? Because they flipped
Yes.
it. That's why they had to say, we got a really tainted past. Let's say we flipped with the other party. Yeah. And then they pitched that for a couple years or something at one point. History is
One
only
generation,
what,
right? We've heard that before.
the leaders of people putting something in the book, whatever a couple of people agree on is what gets written, I guess. History is agreed upon. What's going to get written? History's by the winners. Rules are made by the winners. The losers obey them. We know how this works.
You think
but
about how well we easily say that. Oh yeah, that's right. It was flipped, because that's like something that we all can agree upon, no matter what your views are. Oh well, the Republicans used to be the Whigs back in the day. Like, what do you mean? Like, back in what? Like when we were under the king? Yeah, I don't talk about that time, because that's not America. We were somebody else's property.
Yeah,
You're talking about where do we get our form of government? I mean, I know acutely well about the government and where we get our rule of law from. It's like, oh, it's from Rome. I know we had an individual in here that says all roads lead back to Rome, and I agree with you. But where I disagree is it doesn't stop at Rome. It goes back to Persia, Phoenicia, Babylon. Rome was just an expression of these ancient things, and we always talk about there's always a spiritual side to this, but the reality is what they're trying to do is slipping, and we see it so clear. If we all know they flipped, why did they flip? When did they flip? And what was their who originally created them? And we see things like the Antifa flag flying verse, and it's like almost the same thing as the National Nazi Party flag. Oh, it's not that, it's different colors. Like, oh my gosh, you think we're that stupid to actually to eat that up? I mean, I know none of you guys are here, man. I mean, Spy on the Guy in the Sky 777. Yep, all roads stop at the Vatican. Yeah, and you start looking at the Vatican. Who created the Vatican? When did it spur up? Why has it been? It's just like D.C., right? It's its own little city-state, its own little country within a country that has its own little constitution.
We talked about this before, folks. 1871, our Constitution got usurped. All right, got usurped by the federal government, and they actually put in stuff in there that you're not to train anybody on it. I'm not even supposed to really probably talk about it, but you know what? I can and I will, but we're not supposed to talk about how to subvert it, how to beat it, and how to get back to your own. They put it in, and then they put in some things around it. Anyone out there teaching ways to, so that's a criminal act of alone, just putting in something to usurp our Constitution, and then putting in things to talk about how you can't beat it or get rid of it either.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
It's a little narcissistic. So, yeah.
Tammy Lucas, I agree with you. She says, Babylon confusion, tares devil planted them. She's referring to when at the very end of the great harvest, the judgment, when the good Lord and the Creator takes the wheat and the tares, and He'll separate them at harvest, which is a good one. We want to be wheat. We want to be food. We don't want to be a weed that withers and dies. We want to stay to the light.
So there you go. If you have a lot of the country not wanting to listen to the president, to get it back to this, and we're going to read this article here, folks. Ben read that one. Journo terrorism, which terrorists, so who are brainwashing Americans to hate their own country. I mean, that's exactly how I feel, and I think that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, and think about this one. The ongoing land invasion of the United States and America is literally an active war being openly supported by Democrats and leftists who are using illegal immigrants to nullify U.S. voters and overrun the United States with anti-American militants, criminals, and terrorists. See civilwar.news for frequent updates on an upcoming civil war. As Stuart Rhodes from Oath Keepers has accurately described, the illegal immigration is designed to import terror cells who plan to carry out quote-unquote Tet offensive inside the United States, isolated small cells, if you will, once activated by enemies and traitors who are literally seeking to complete destruction of America.
So think about that, folks. I did that one article around Christmas that I've done ones where Brennan was working with that GHCQ, Robert Hannigan, all those stories. These people have all really left in real life. These aren't just made up stories. They got validation behind them. And we've covered it all, folks. This is a vast, vast system. They're talking about getting illegals, these caravans. If we even listen to the people trying to tell you, like, well, these people are just scared down there in Mexico, Ben. They got a lot of gangs, and they got the government that's bad and shooting people. Then they got the cartels, and then you got the local level MS-13. Well, if these people are able to just run here and get here and go over some of the open border spots, so can these bad people. And people already tell us, well, we already got bad people here, but that's who those people are running from. And you're trying to tell me that it's fine that they come here, but then I'm saying they're right behind them. We already got bad people here. It's like, what the heck? Why are they running and you're justifying it, but now you're letting them come?
Exactly.
They can come just as easily, because if there's nobody there to harass, eventually, so who knows who's coming? That whole thing there is to get some of these people here. They're training, they got weapons. So when that was that story around Christmas, they talked about there was already some terror cells type here with all the guns and stuff ready for more of the army to come, waiting on more
this
troops.
Isn't a new this isn't
they're
a
not
new
gonna come.
way
They're not going to
of
come at you with camouflage on, folks, so we could see it on the news.
Yeah.
All
a
right.
nice V formation coming into No,
So
exactly.
think about
And
the
we
bigger
know-
picture real quick. That you got people going overseas and trying to don't listen to the president, creating really big issues where we have wars, and we've been in shit situations with Iran for 30 years, or whatever. And but Kerry's got a strong relationship, and it's like, whoa, what was so good under Obama? I thought they were shooting missiles every day, and it was a really big threat for us every day on the TV. They just went the really long period without shooting any missiles with Trump, and then you got Kerry going back over there, and next thing you know, they're firing off some missiles. Did you tell him to, Kerry? Maybe I did.
Or what?
We needed to look bad for the TVs, and who knows what's going on, folks. But this is if you have that going on, and then Trump's trying to do stuff here, like, you need to call us when you have illegal immigrants. No, we're not going to. We got states doing that now, being sanctuary. Nobody's listening. Everyone's doing their own rogue operations. What do you do? What do you do there? Law and order for our Constitution, or do we just want it's like the left is going to do exactly what they want and cater it in no matter what. They're playing off a playbook of sorts, the communist playbook. When your obstructor or obstructionist is in your way, paint him in a bad light and repeat it over and over and over until it sticks. Seems like that's what they've done.
If that doesn't get rid of them, throw charges on them. If that doesn't get rid of them, quietly take them away. By the way, Grandpa C, thank you so much, man. Like you said, I know Mike and I, we don't really talk much about it, but truly your guys' support and donations really do help, and everything you guys send to the P.O Box is a blessing as well.
Thank you.
So,
yes.
Yeah, man, keep it up. It's the best. But you touched on a really good issue, because we're still trying to wrap our heads around why they're doing this. And if we can just, like you said earlier, what's the origin? Who supports these people? Have they gone away? No. Have they changed the clothes or the masks they're wearing? Well, most definitely. Now they're painting a picture that we all want to see, that we all like, and they're getting us all fattened up because their goal has never changed. It's almost like it's like their goal hasn't changed, but their feathers or whatever they wear has changed. Their mask, whatever you want to call it, their idea, and it flipped, and then now it's happening. But they're still saying the same thing, and nobody's calling them out legally yet. They can
Yes.
say these crazy things. Don Lemon can make these crazy accusations and say things, and all these people. It's one thing back in the day when Trump and Rosie O'Donnell were going at it, and he's a and she's
Yeah.
a. That's understandable. Okay, was it for show?
Or
Was it not? Who
Barack
knows? You know.
Obama to Bush. So, some reporter would say a snide
Yes.
remark, a couple years into Barack, maybe about the economy or jobs or something. Or
Well, it was
maybe
already
Gitmo,
wishy-washy
or why
from
aren't you pulled out of the
Bushy.
war yet like you promised? And then he was like, well, Bush created a hell of an issue over there. I mean, snide remarks, but it wasn't like, Bush created some issues over there. And by the way, he was real treasonous and he going down for it. I mean, that's actually happening.
Yeah, I didn't see no mass exodus out of DC and out of Hollywood and out of the corporate world under Obama, Bush, Clinton.
Yeah.
You know.
No, here, finish this paragraph that you're on.
It's clear presidency here.
Wait, I think you did.
More civilians.
Destruction.
Yeah,
yeah.
destruction.
Okay, I'll
They
read
want
this.
destruction.
So
Go
it
ahead.
has also become obvious that over the past few months that the tech giants are waging a coordinated conspiracy to nullify U.S. elections and crush democracy by selectively silencing all conservative voices on the dominant online platforms. This illegal conspiracy, pursued by Facebook, Twitter, Google, Apple, and other tech giants, represents an online insurrection against the United States of America, which is why I have repeatedly called out for the deployment of military police to arrest the CEOs of these tech companies and force the platform to respect the First Amendment liberties of the American people. And I've touched base on this, folks. We have been harassed, we have been shadow banned, and this will all be fixed. Guarantee it, because we're not going to stand for it. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
So
no, I agree with you. It even says.
Why would we?
It's time for.
So it's time for Trump to deploy the military police to arrest Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey. And that's just the start of what needs to happen to restore our democracy and freedom to speak. Adams' story then went on to call out the enemies of America within, who have sold out American people and almost succeeded at taking down our nation from within, an absolute must for their final implementation of global government being taken down by taking down the strongest nation standing. So, and with Barack Obama having had 8 years to build up a deep state that Dr. Peter Vincent Pry warned within an A&P story, had a red thread running through it. While the deep state had been working to build up their own propaganda mouthpiece, the mainstream media for decades, it's easy to see how their control over the flow of information has allowed them to get as far along as they have. Once again, from Mike Adams' crucial story, we'll just see how implemented they are. So here's a list of the enemies who are committing treason in an actual war effort to destroy this nation from within. Go ahead there, Ben.
All of these traitors must be identified, detained, and removed from the power by authorized forces before they succeed in destroying this nation. Corrupt liberal judges who defy the president's efforts to secure the U.S. border. It's time to arrest corrupt anti-American judges and remove them from power. Journo terrorists are Mike and I's favorite word of this whole article. Who pretend to be journalists but are actually anti-American traitors spreading lies, hatred, and insanity to indoctrinate liberals and leftists, whipping them up into an attempt cultural revolution that has literally driven millions of leftists to the point of mass mental illness. Oh. Okay, CEOs at the top managers of tech giants, which have now sold out to communist China, are using their power to selectively silence pro-American voices across all search engines, social media, and online platforms. These tech giants must be occupied and either shut down or forced to respect the level playing field of online speech, which we say is super huge. Antifa terrorists and other radical left-wing groups that promise an armed insurrection to attempt to overthrow the United States of America, deep state operatives who conspire to carry out a political coup against President Trump, like James Comey, Mueller, Brennan, etc. liberal university professors who use their positions of influence to actively recruit students into a domestic terrorism organizations such as Antifa.
Yes. Very sobering realization. Civil war is now inevitable for America. So it's been a long warned that any arrest of the deep state treasonist might be the final straw that pushed the rapidly maddening left over the edge. And as we see within the conclusion to our story, Adam warns immediately of more leftist violence upon law-abiding conservatives, Christians, and President Trump supporters in the first video below. In this summer 2010 story over at the Middle East Forum, and Steve Quayle had linked to Monday morning, we got a huge reminder about just who John Brennan is. A reminder that the mainstream media will never admit with Brennan, a longtime intelligence expert on MSNBC, despite the fact that he's a stooge for the jihad, calling jihad a holy struggle, as Middle East Forum reported. Will the arrest of Comey, Brennan, and other deep state traitors and the MSN trigger the left to the point of no return? The radical left is about to be triggered by treasonous deep state-run mainstream media to launch an attempted communistic revolution and a violent coup against America. And see, they were wanting us to play into that, folks, because of the derangement coming out of them. We're supposed to be kind of like we are and just like, hey, fuck this, but that would have been played right into it. That was their.
I mean, there's a lot of they know just how to poke these old sleeping bears over here.
The radical left is about to be triggered by treasonous deep state run mainstream media to launch an attempted. That's crazy. So Trump fully realizes that the war against America has already begun, and he has decided to take decisive action to defend America using legitimate military forces and an all executive power available to the commander-in-chief. Once Trump initiates the Insurrection Act, the lawless, deranged left will immediately declare Trump to be a military dictator, while calling for leftists to take this to the streets in an armed rebellion against the rule of law. Leftists will open fire on Trump supporters, bomb government buildings, and attempt to executive police officers and the National Guard troops, which are deployed to defend America. Pro-Trump Americans need to be prepared to defend themselves against the violence of the lawless left. The radical left is an authoritarian, anti-American cult that has demonstrated its dangerous lawlessness by censoring all online speech. All this stuff's already happened.
So
exactly. This is not a made up. It's like, we saw how bad people were, but like Roseanne said something that really offended some people, but take her down. Fine, I'm not agreeing with what Roseanne did, but what about these other people that have done much, much worse and they're not taking
What about how when Snoop Dogg put some peanut butter on top of a saltine cracker and said, that's our new president? Like, oh my gosh, but it's Snoop Dogg. He's cool. He's he can do that. That's like, not cool in my book.
No, folks, we got to all right, let's keep finishing this so we could get over with it. Where are we at? Pro-Trump America needs to be prepared to defend themselves against the violence of the lawless left. The radical left is an authoritarian, an anti-American cult that has also demonstrated its dangerous lawlessness by censoring all online speech that opposes the deranged delusions of the progressive left. This is an indicator of their true intent. Total authoritarian rule, complete with speech police and the elimination of those who with opposing views. The left has zero intention of respecting the rule of law, the Bill of Rights, or any election laws whatsoever. Every election from this day forward will be stolen or fraudulently altered by leftists who hate America and despise all pro-American patriots. It is time for President Trump to deploy the military police to arrest them and remove from power all those in government who are actively engaged in acts of treason, sedition, and voter fraud. California political leaders must be arrested and prosecuted for running a massive vote fraud conspiracy that attempts to steal elections from American citizens. So with the months of May and June, go ahead and read that.
I'll say with the months of May and June to bring the expected release of the IG's report on the FISA abuse investigation, Yeah, we pray everybody is ready for whatever may come, and as mainstream media induces mass sweep over the land, as Americans finally get a real taste of reality TV, as Judge Jeannie recently stated, this will be the real thing. No scripts, no rehearsals, just a gang of criminals pointing their fingers at each other. As the Adams story concludes, it is important that the President Trump knows that he is the American people. He has their back as we plow through this absolutely crucial movement in American history. It is crucial that President Trump knows he has widespread support from the American people, which I think he knows that he knows we got his back. As all of this is about to go down, it is critical that President Trump knows he has widespread support from American people and take actions necessary to defend the nation from its domestic enemies. We, the people, will be tasked with supporting these efforts as Trump works to clean house and root out treasonous traitors who are conspiring to destroy this great nation.
My bad. Hit it again. Great nation right there. If we
all succeed, we may once again restore democracy and rule of law to America. If we fail, America falls to the authoritarian tyrants, and the nation will be deliberately dismantled and fed to the globalist. I mean, think about that, you guys. I mean, they were trying to do that with the banning of certain kinds of guns, calling them assault guns, like. This pen could be an assault pen if I use it right.
You jab somebody in the eye with it.
Dangerous pen.
We are now fighting for our lives. We are blessed to have Donald Trump, J. Trump, as our president as America faces off against treasonous actors, deep state traitors, and authoritarian globalists who despise this nation and for what it stands for. Be ready to literally fight for the survival and the defense of our nation. The end game has arrived. California will be the front lines in the incoming war. Wow, what an article. So a couple of videos down here. You guys can check those out.
That's definitely check those out for sure. I mean, and Mike and I, we're not supporting, we're not denying, we're not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, we're not giving dates, and we've talked about this before. Preparation favors victory. What victory are you trying to accomplish? Take care of you and your family? We'll prepare for that.
Yes.
Take care of your neighbors. Well, when you're done with your family, prepare for that. And we just know that something is coming.
It's got to be an end game of one of the two ways, either Trump's way or this other crazy nutso way. You guys are seeing the two big differences, right? I mean, it's just crazy.
And so if they're trying to paint the picture like this article is clearly saying that people like Mike and I and you guys that are watching right now who believe in the Constitution, just the basic tenets of I have private property, so like don't leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Do people want to break that freedom down to be left alone? Because ultimately we just want to be left alone to be happy, raise our families.
DC Dirty Laundry, real quick there. Somebody asked what website that was off of. DCDirtyLaundry.com. So that was a great one. Good ideas. It makes me, I'm going to be looking into a few things again tonight on some, some of the stuff that came up in there. I did like that as well, that journo terrorist.
That journo terrorism. And here's another thing, you guys. And you guys know this as well, but Mike and I always try to reiterate this because sometimes we even forget just the basics of just what we're standing on here. We're just like you. We don't have any inside connection to some private information that only we have on this channel. We're just like you, man. About the only edge we have is that we're veterans. But there's a lot of us out there, so that means there's a lot of edges. But I mean, we're getting the information being disseminated to the public and through Q and other sources, and we're doing our damnedest to connect the dots to see what sticks, what doesn't, and we talk about this stuff all the time. I mean, we don't just willy-nilly come on the show and be like, all right, can you read something? I mean, we really try to ascertain, is what we're going to be going over tonight, is it just based on a theory? If so, okay, theory mode. Or is it, well, this is fact, we have an executive order here, we have a presidential memo over here, and I'm not saying that this is what's happening. So we're doing the best that we can, and with all you guys out there watching and helping and sending stuff like stuff like in the P.O Box, Mike's gotten some awesome things. We need all of you guys. And then when we talked about even the beginning of this episode about Twitter trash talk Thursday or something like that, or Tuesday or whatever. Yeah, trash talk Tuesday on Twitter.
Hey, let's we got Paul Marshall here real quick. Thank you, veterans, and God bless. Thank you, Paul Marshall, for the super chat.
Thank you,
truly appreciate it.
It does.
Take
it's
a small
huge,
5 minute here, or about 10, maybe 5 to 10. If you guys will stick around, we'll come back, finish it out. I know Ben's got to go maybe take care of a few things. I'm gonna grab a water. But we'll meet back here about
put to bed.
9 o'clock. I'll be back at 9 o'clock, and if Ben's back, he can join in. And if not, I'll keep it up. And if he can get back before I shut it down completely, then he's back. If not, but we'll keep everything up. It's up to you,
That's
Ben.
awesome. Yeah, because you guys, I mean, we want to keep this going with you guys for sure.
But yeah, we'll go a little longer. We'll come back and talk to some of you guys, get some of your, maybe take some questions or something, and then we can go from there. But let me get something up here to play. Get a video. Oh my God.
Let's see.
Quarter of man's
Shilly,
days.
when is POTUS back? I don't know when he's scheduled to be back in this stateside, and that's the thing is most of us he may have a schedule, but he'll probably come in a week before and be like, "Oh, it's great to be back. Oh, you were supposed to be back for 3 more days." Yeah, that's how it rolls. So, yes, Sherry Owens, lots of love, for sure. Okay, Terry Blackwell. Yes, 1871, been researching for decades. Original Constitution, rewritten, now missing amendments. Yes, there's all kinds of good stuff. Grillin', oh my gosh, dude, thank you, brother, thank you. Hope for the best, but I'm ready for the worst. I love that. He's preparing for victory.
Grillin', I hope for the best, but I'm ready for the worst. Yes, very nice. Thanks for the super chat, you guys. All right, we'll be back in a few.
Huge blessing.
Hope you're here when we get back. Please join us. We'll got about a 9-minute video here, same one you probably saw from yesterday. Adam Schiff, a stone-cold traitor, guilty of spearheading a highly organized conspiracy to commit treason and overthrow a duly elected president of the United States of America. Schiff is also guilty of fomenting war with Russia based on a patently false pretext and bogus allegations. What we've been trying to bring to the light, and that very few understand, is that Russiagate was a highly organized deep state conspiracy conducted by the Democratic Party and people on the right. This crossed both party lines to overthrow President Donald Trump and to start the hot phase of World War III with Russia. Toward that end, Congressman Adam Schiff was selected early on to spearhead this unparalleled act of treason and outright warmongering from his high perch in the U.S. Congress. So if you want to talk about compromised and easily coerced, Shifty Schiff is nothing but a political hitman who will do anything his hidden masters tell him to because they have much dirt on him. No congressman will ever expose themselves as much as Schiff has unless they themselves have been bribed, blackmailed, and compromised. As Democrats scream about seeing the unredacted Mueller report and abuse House subpoena powers to keep the Russia collusion hunt going and to pry for President Donald Trump's private information, Representative Adam Schiff, Democrat out of California, is saying Trump is trying to weaponize law enforcement for intending to release documents that would shed light on the motives of the Mueller investigation. You know, how it all started. While Trump stonewalls the public from learning the truth about his obstruction of justice, Trump and Barr conspire to weaponize law enforcement and classified information against their political enemies. The cover-up has entered a new and dangerous phase. This is un-American, Schiff wrote in this tweet. Now, the decision was made on May 23rd by the Trump administration to declassify certain documents pertaining to the origin of the FBI spook, Robert Mueller's now completed Russia collusion probe. Today's actions will help ensure that all Americans learn the truth about the events that occurred and the actions that were taken during the last presidential election, and will restore confidence in our public's institutions, Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said in a statement. Now, Attorney General Bill Barr had previously announced that he was hiring nonpartisan bulldog John Durham to investigate the origins of the probe. The U.S. Attorney has received praise from top Democrats officials for his exemplary record in rooting out corruption over the course of many decades. Meanwhile, the president amps up his rhetoric, perhaps foreshadowing for revelations to come as those documents are released and digested into the public. My campaign for president was conclusively spied on. Nothing like this has ever happened in American politics. A really bad situation. Treason means long jail sentences, and this was treason.
Big deal, because it was all about Russia. So I haven't heard the word Russia. They don't use the word Russia anymore. So there's no crime. There never was a crime. It was a hoax. It was a witch hunt. So this comes back, and it comes back totally exonerating Donald Trump and a lot of other people. This was a terrible thing that happened to our country. Now, I'll tell you what they are asking. They are asking about how did this whole thing start? That's what people want to know. And I want to tell you, I had an event last night. A lot of you were there. Thousands and thousands of people standing in a field. They've never seen anything like it, meaning even the press. But it's always that way. We've never had an empty seat. Thousands of people last night. You know what they want to know? How did this whole thing start? It's going to be hard for them to answer that. When Schiff goes to the microphone, he's conning this whole country, and he knows that. And he goes back into a room and he talks to his friends and he laughs, because that's the way life is.
Bottom line, Adam Schiff is a key co-conspirator within a massive deep state conspiracy to overthrow the president, Donald Trump. There's tons of other obvious co-conspirators, including Democrats like Eric Swalwell, Jerry Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Maxine Waters, Richard Blumenthal, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Kristen Gillibrand, and Mazi Hirono, among many, many, many prominent members of Congress. This seditious plot to remove Trump from office by way of a soft coup also implicates Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, John Brennan, James Clapper, Michael Hayden, Robert Mueller, James Comey, Susan Rice, Samantha Power, Rod Rosenstein, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Bruce Orr, Lisa Page, Christopher Steele, Glenn Simpson, Stephen Halper, among many other treasonous deep state operatives. Of course, there are numerous traitors throughout the mainstream media who also covertly colluded to carry out a soft coup against Trump, whose names are now notorious for fake news. Rachel Maddow, Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, Brian Seltzer, Chris Cuomo, Chris Matthews, Larry O'Donnell, Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski, Andrea Mitchell, Lester Holt, and many, many others. The critical point is that the fake Russiagate hoax was a highly organized and orchestrated scheme premeditated at the highest echelons of the U.S. federal government to try to overturn the 2016 election. And then with their next puppet in office, after they got Trump removed, was to start an all-out war with Russia to finish their endgame plan. Luckily, this has all been stopped. I'm Michael. This is the Patriot Hour. God bless and Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide. Where we go one, we go all. Right. Give me a minute here. I'll open up the phone lines. Gotta do a few things here. All right. Number is up, I think. Go ahead and give a call. This is a Patriot Hour. This is Mike. I don't have everything set up here. All right, can you hear?
Hello?
Yes, there it is. All right. How you doing? This is Mike. Can you hear me?
Hello, you there?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear him, but he can't hear us. Maybe I don't have something set up right. All right, hold on, folks. All right, we can try it again. I think I got it set up. There we go. Same guy. Hello, are you there? Can you hear us? Now the calls are coming, and I don't think it's set up right. Give me a minute, folks. Look at the live chat. Can you guys hear the caller? You guys hear the caller? Can you hear the phone ringing right now? There. The update didn't, my chat wouldn't update until I just did something. Okay. Take your time. Can you guys hear the phone ringing? No, yes, yes, no. Give me a new setup. Oh yeah, she has that. Amy, you haven't been in here. You guys can hear the ring? Okay, you could hear the ring. Did you hear the caller the last time? How about when he was talking? Couldn't hear the caller. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna have to wait a minute here. Because I was messing with a bunch of this stuff right before me and Ben were trying to. So I got to see what I did here. That's why. Okay. We gotta have that. No, this one. All right. Patriot Hour, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you really good. Can you guys hear? Let me make sure these callers can.
Okay.
You guys heard the ringing there. I'm waiting on them to get back to me. Yes, they saying they can hear you. Okay, perfect. What is your name? This is Michael.
Okay. Hi, it's Ginger.
Hi, Ginger.
Michael.
How are you doing?
Happy Memorial Day, honey, and thank you for your service. We love the true men out there. I've put in my comments that I think these boy men today need to go into the boot camp so they can grow up and become men, see?
Yes.
They're not being raised, and that's why we have a lot of turmoil. I wish Trump, and a lot of people may get upset with me about this, but I wish he would bring back the draft, because when I was growing up, my friends would go into the service and they would go through boot camp and they would come home. All the guys I grew up with in the neighborhood, and they were different. They were men. They changed. And I think that's what we need today. But that's not why I'm calling, Michael. I'm going to do this real quick. There is a law, I'm not sure, maybe the audience knows, where the president has to be out of the country, and the Senate and the Congress have to be out of session and out of D.C. to be arrested.
That's correct.
I've been following Q, right?
Yes.
And he said, and I put this in my comments too, he said, he asked, or whoever Q is, said, when do birds sing? And I figured it out, and I think pre-dawn. I have a lot of birds around me, and they always wake me up, and the sun's not up yet. It's just coming up. And he also said, when do flowers bloom? And April showers bring May flowers. See?
Yes.
So this is May. President's out of the country. Congress and Senate are gone for the holiday. And he kept mentioning, Q kept mentioning May. So I think a lot of these people live in these areas that are secluded. And I think that people aren't going to know about it, see? Because they're going to do it at pre-dawn, and they don't really have neighbors to see. And I feel there's been a lot of arrests already. But that's just something to think about. And you give us your comment, Kay?
Okay.
And maybe our fellow chatters can give us their comments too. Okay. God bless you, honey. Take care.
Thank you, Ginger. Awesome, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Awesome call there. Phone lines are down for a minute. I'll let you know when they're back up. Folks, okay, so we have definitely heard about this, so we're gonna do a little on the fly. Yes, thank you, Ginger. It should be good now, guys. So real quick before we get into that, can't hear the phone ringing. Good. I don't want you to hear the phone ringing. Well, you might hear it on the first one, but that was so messed up. But you guys heard the call, right? The call was good. I turned volumes up. Was her volume good? You heard her 5 of 5. I think you did. So yes. Some people are saying no, but maybe okay. So let's do this. We're gonna go to Q. They're not coming there. Apply. Search. All right, so we'll just go to post 1 and 2. All right, and again, everyone's like, these never happened. Well, they might not have. Not yet, but when it happens, let's read it. So there were some dates or whatever, right? But again, we know that things are disinformation sometimes on purpose, just to get them going, get them spooked. So That was 2. HRC extradition already in motion, effective yesterday with several countries in case of cross-border run. Passport to be flagged. Post number 2, HRC detained, not arrested yet. POTUS will not go on TV to address the nation. POTUS must isolate himself to prevent negative optics. POTUS, it's not that one. Okay, so I need to do a little more expansion. Why did that go big again? So I want October. Well, okay, 2 drops. Reset. Okay, I'm gonna find this one here. These crumbs are not meant to scare anyone, but to merely inform. Resistance will be dealt with swiftly. The core focus is removing entrenched and fortified bad actors within our federal government, past and present, as well as others. Simply be diligent. Phone numbers will be provided if you're witnessing an uprising or domestic violence, in addition to 911. Any military scene is for your protection. Way back in November of 17, would it blow your mind if I told you Barack Obama had been to North Korea? All right, so right here we're going to go to post 35. All right, does this one tell the story? That we need to hear. 35. POTUS will be well insulated, protected upon Air Force One and abroad, out of country. Specific locations classified while these operations are being conducted due to the nature of entrenchment. It is time to take back our country and make America great again. Let us salute and pray to the brave men and women in uniform who will undertake this assignment to bring forth peace, unity, and return power to the people. It is our hope that this message reaches enough people to make it a meaningful impact. We cannot yet telegraph this message through normal methods for reasons I'm sure everyone here at this point can understand that by now. Follow the questions from the previous threads and remain calm. The primary targets are within DC and remain at the top on both sides. The spillover in the streets will be quickly shut down. Look for more false flags, stay alert, be vigilant, and above all, please pray. So for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Love is patient, love is kind. God bless my fellow Americans. 4/10/20. This one here, Q clearance Patriot. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refugee of shining light. On POTUS order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout which is slated to occur. 11/3, but they never give a date. Upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable on 11/4, and these dates might have all been muffed up, or things changed, or just disinformation. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials on POTUS order. A state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States. False leaks have been made to retain, to the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within this country will unfortunately be divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has been long broadcast. We will be initiating the Emergency Broadcast System (EMS) during this time, an effort to provide a direct message, avoiding the fake news to all citizens. Organizations and/or people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. All right, so I just wanted to get those couple of out there. That took me that. All right, what are we saying here in the chat? And we are in control. Insurrection Act. All right, so I'm going to pull that up. All right, so here we go. News about the insurrection. Trump to use tremendous powers. That was the article, Washington Examiner. This is really popping up around. Washington Post 10 days ago, Government Executive 10 days ago, Fox News. And if I hit news, all right, I don't like that one. Trump is considering deputizing the military as a civilian police force. That is terrifying. No, what's more terrifying is that the left has propagated to break the laws for as long as they have. They're not, it's like, hey, we got laws on the books. We see the insanity with under Obama when the Republicans just wanted to see some stuff on the Fast and Furious, just paperwork. Nothing was classified. They might have some classified because of all the dirt they did, but they didn't want to show anything. And the Democrats didn't want to see it either. But their oversight. That's congressional oversight over the FBI to look and make sure they're doing things properly. And then here you got the Democrats going after Barr for following the law. Like, he's not going to release a few things that might give details to people, and they're yelling at him to break the law, and he doesn't. So then they threaten him with courts. It doesn't make sense. But in this day and age, with the stacked judges, you'll probably get a favorable outcome. So, unbelievable. Sorry, so I'm still looking up I'm going to pull up the official insurrection. All right. So we got the Insurrection Act of the United States. I'm not going to read this whole thing. We're just going to go. During Hurricane Katrina in 2005, the White House reportedly considered invoking the Insurrection Act in order to send federal troops into New Orleans, but ultimately declined. Louisiana Governor Kathleen Blanco did not request such federal intervention. The original Insurrection Act required the president to seek approval from state legislatures or governors before deploying soldiers, and except in cases where a localized breakdown of authority has made the enforcement of federal laws impractical, or insurrection, domestic violence, unlawful combination, or conspiracy hinders the execution of the laws of the state. So you already have states kind of compromised. How do you go to that same person and have them agree with anything? So, public health, terrorist attack incident that results in breakdown of local law and order. Domestic violence, suppress any insurrection, domestic violence, unlawful. All right, well, this isn't too long, so let's read a little bit here. Let me see. So the Insurrection Act of the United States. Congress recently amended the Insurrection Act, a federal law which allows the president to deploy federal troops within the United States in the event of the state authorities were unable to maintain the rule of law in their own borders. Just read the hurricane part. A localized breakdown of authority has made the enforcement of federal laws impractical, or any insurrection, domestic violence, unlawful combination, or conspiracy hinders the execution of laws of that state. So laws have states that any part or class of its people is deprived of a right, privilege, immunity, or protection named in the Constitution and secured by law. Recent revisions of the Insurrection Act have added new criteria that can trigger unilateral presidential troop deployments, including natural disasters, epidemic, or other serious public health emergency, terrorist attack or incident, or other condition in any state or possession of the United States that results in a breakdown of local law and order. The Insurrection Act is an exception to the Posse Comitatus statute, which forbids the use of military assets and domestic law enforcement, except as allowed by the Constitution or an act of Congress. So what's kind of funny here is you'll get people that say, we don't want to do that. That's bad stuff. But yet what we have going on is bad right now, where we have laws and you have a fraction of this country not wanting to enforce them. You have the people sitting up there on their perched up on Congress. The minute you vote them in, then they start pitching it. You don't need guns. They start telling you, letting people come here, invade our country, thousands and millions of illegals, just all kinds of things that they're pitching that are against the Constitution, against this and that. And then you're like, well, we're going to take that down. And one of the ways you have to do that is like by this. And then they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that either. So it's like, what do we do here? I'm not saying, and it's like, well, once they get that in and they get this, they're coming for me is what you get scared about. I mean, and that's why you have your gun. You should, a way to protect yourself. So, I don't know how else you take down these people if it's this vast. So we'll read a little more of this text and of changes made to the Insurrection Act. So this was changed, I'm assuming under Obama. In general, Section 333 of Title 10 United States Code is amended to read as follows. Major public emergencies, interference with state and federal law, use of armed forces in major public emergencies. The president may employ the armed forces, including National Guard, restore public order. We read that kinda. Violence, suppress any state insurrection, the condition, paragraph that. So hinders the execution of laws at state or possession applicable and the United States within the state or possession. That any part or class of its people deprived of a right, privilege, immunity. We kind of read that. In any situation covered by paragraph 1B, the state shall be considered to have denied the equal protection of laws secured by the Constitution. B, notice to Congress. The President shall notify Congress of the determination to exercise the authority in subsection A1, A, as soon as practicable by the determination, and every 14 days thereafter during the duration of the exercise of that authority. Exercise authority, subsection, as soon as practical determination. Proclamation to disperse, section 334 of such titles amended by inserting those obstructing the enforcement of laws. All right, we got a bunch of people doing that. We got people that we vote into law that start obstructing law. They took the oath, but now they're subverting. That's the bigger crime that nobody's calling out and nobody's saying how to stop it. And then we got laws here to take care of it. So, because the people that are just, basically screaming this ain't right, that ain't right, they're not really doing anything either at all. Heading amendment. The heading of Chapter 15 of such title is amended to read as follows. Chapter 15, enforcement of laws to restore public order. Look at this. So, for clerical amendments, the tables of chapters, that would be, who's going to fall apart once people start getting arrested? The people that have been duped the most and don't know what's going on. They are going to think, and it was labeled out in that article. So, let me see here. All right. All right, we'll see if it rings. I think the phone lines are back open. I hope that kind of covered some of it, Ginger. I was hoping Ben would get back in, but we can cover that. We're going to be going over Insurrection. And we got to dove in. We're going to dive in a little bit more. Take another call if we got somebody. All right. Why is that not ringing on my... All right, this is Mike, the Patriot Hour. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? Who are we speaking with here tonight?
It's David Woodruff, one of your mods.
Hey, Dave. How's it going, brother? Good to hear you.
You too, man. I appreciate what you do.
All right. How was your weekend, man? Good
Wanted to
weekend?
Call in and, yeah, it's pretty good. We spent some time getting the house together. You know, we got a baby on the way, so we're trying to get some rooms fixed up.
Oh, yeah. I know how that is. Where are you located at? You don't have to tell me state, but like what, Midwest or East, West Coast?
Well, I'm down in Louisiana.
Okay. Perfect. All right. You guys get any rains or any bad, weathers or?
No, we've had a really wet spring so far, but it's kind of dying off now, starting to heat up, so humidity's getting real bad, but, we're used to it. That's how it goes.
All right. All right. So are you excited? Are you seeing the turn in events kind of unfold on the TV and even with the mainstream or anything like that? What's your overall feeling of what you're seeing happen?
Well, I think it's starting to take place. I think they're trying to be very careful and very slow about how they release this to the public. I feel like they're being very calculated, and they don't want to scare everybody and stir everything up and make it look like Trump's trying to be a dictator or something. So I feel like it's starting to unravel. It's starting to show more and more. I listen to a lot of Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity on the radio because I spend most of my day in the truck. But even based on what I'm hearing there, I'm hearing more and more talk about that kind of matches up with the Q movement and what all is going down with this deep state. And I feel like here soon, in the next few months, I think it's all going to be out there for the public to see, to hear. And I think it's going to be a real great awakening, just like we've been calling it.
Yeah, no, I agree, Dave. That's one thing that I've seen is the mainstream. Some of the people have been there all along and seen the injustice, but even more so now, I do think here with these next several D classes, it's just gonna be a little bit of a boom after boom after boom, and they're gonna exhaust this whole spying thing, and then they're gonna wham it open with the whole illegal one that Mike Rogers initially caught on about, and then they only went to this FISA way afterwards, and after Obama, and they knew Hillary lost, and they needed to have the insurance, which was to continue doing it, but a lot of the people had, Obama had to leave, so they couldn't continue doing it, and plus Mike Rogers. So that's all going to be very, very interesting. That's gonna be damaging to these to the whole narrative, basically. So.
Oh yeah, it's going to change the whole tone across the entire country. I feel like even some of these states like New York and California are actually going to wake up to what's going on, and they maybe not flip red, but maybe turn a little purple.
Yeah, there you go. We got Ben in here. You can talk, Ben. This is Dave Wood Roof. What is it? Woodruff.
Oh yeah, what's up, Dave? Yeah, we for sure we love. Man, you've seen you guys come across for sure, man. Lots of love.
I'm sorry.
Are we still there?
Monday through Friday, so.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Nice.
Can you guys real quick? I want to make sure. Can you hear him now, or do I have to have that one slider on because it might have caused you an echo, right? Or were you getting an echo, Ben?
I wasn't getting an echo that I know of.
David, can you talk real quick?
Yeah, I'm still here.
You hear him, Ben, or no?
All right, cool.
You heard him?
All right, yeah,
okay.
Sounds good, brother. No, I don't hear no echo. I can hear the caller. Yeah. Sweet. 5 of 5, everybody's saying. Nice,
All right, we're
nice.
good.
It
I
was just
making
one of
sure.
the things that we're working
Yeah.
on.
I messed something up before we went live because I was trying to do something else, and it was a disaster on that first call. But yeah, no, we're all good. Everyone's saying echo's gone now. I did have an echo going. All right, perfect, you guys, perfect. Go ahead. I don't know. Do you have any?
Well, I was saying I'm sorry I've missed a bunch of y'all's live chats recently. I've got an 8 to 5 during the day. I've got to work, so but I love to catch them on the weekends anytime or night, any chance I get. So I really appreciate what y'all do for us, getting the word out there.
Yes, and I know. I got. I don't know if who's all in the room right now, but I do have a package coming out for the mods that I didn't take care of at Christmas, so we'll call this like a summer one, but I will. I have not been to the P.O Box, by the way, everybody, but I want to take care of the other mods. I got like Danielle, Derek, and then you, Dave, and I believe I got your guys' addresses put up somewhere. You guys sending them to me around Christmas. Randy Robbins as well, but all right, any shout outs you want to give? And by the way, congratulations on the baby coming. Do you guys know the sex?
Yes.
Did you do that, or you don't know yet? Is it a little further out? You haven't had that, or do you want to know?
Yeah, it's going to be we're going to have a little boy.
All right.
We've got about 8 more weeks to go.
8 weeks. Whew.
Sweet. Congratulations for sure, brother.
And this is your first?
Before you know it.
This is your first one here?
No, this will be my second.
Okay.
This will be my second. I've got a 9-year-old little boy as well.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
All right.
All right, brother. Well, keep up the good work, and we really appreciate you being a mod, and thank you that you called in, and we'll talk to you here real soon.
Yeah.
All right, well, I appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
All right, you too now.
All right.
Awesome.
No, old David Woodruff, great mod.
Yes.
It's a little bit echoey I hear now. It's real faint though.
How about that?
Check a 1, 2. I still hear echo. There you go. I don't hear anything now. Yeah, it went away.
All right. Hopefully that's
Sweet. See, we're getting it down, you guys. See, we're trying, but yeah, no, that's awesome, man.
You guys have echo?
I don't hear any echo on my end. I'm good to go. So I think it was just that one.
5.
A wee bit of reverb, Shanna Green says. Yeah, this is awesome, man. I was able to hop back in, man. You know, I know we all got families getting ready for tomorrow, the work day or whatnot, but I know that it's also great, man. This is so awesome, you guys coming out here and these call-ins. Love these call-ins, man. And of course, you guys, we break Google Voice the whole time.
What, for that last phone call, did you guys have a horrible echo, or was it good, or what was going on? By the way, Amy, that was we had David Woodruff was on the phone. We'll take one more call. I think it is. I think we just went about 2 hours here, and I am.
Yeah. I was out for about a good 20-30 minute little break there, putting my two
it's just getting hot
young
in
ones
here
to bed as well.
after two hours.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not sweating over there, brother. Yeah, in the studio where Mike's at, there's a lot of machines rocking and rolling in that studio. Judy Jones says, I was just wondered if Jerry
Welcome to
Nadler
the Patriot Hour. Can you hear us? Hello. Are you there?
Don't know if...
We'll try. I don't know what's going on.
All right, we'll try again, you guys. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know what I turned down again. I don't think I did turn down anything. Let me make inbox ring on incoming, not on this. All right, we'll see here.
See if it is.
We are ready
Gotta
for
love
a
you guys.
call, possibly. I didn't hang up on you.
Yeah, hey, you guys, this is the awesomeness. This stuff isn't. We're not trying to do
You guys
anything
hear,
other
do you hear
than
the phone
trying to
ring?
get-
You don't hear the ringing?
I hear it ringing now.
Hello, this is the Patriot Hour. Can you hear us?
Yep, I got you.
All right. Who are we speaking
What's
with
up?
tonight?
Gary Holbrook calling from Vermont. Very liberal state. It sucks here. All the laws are being changed, and I guess it's something the president can't help with. You can't walk outside your house or put a Trump bumper sticker on your vehicle without paying some kind of a price here.
Like a social attack or from other citizens or whatnot?
Correct. You would have flat tires or broken windows. It's just crazy. But the reason I'm calling is I was more concerned with how we will ever actually get to the real criminals who seem to be very protected. You know, they're either sitting in the House or Senate, or like Obama, Clinton, they've been protected their whole lives. And, you know, more than half of the Americans know these people are evil criminals, but they've never paid a price for their crimes.
I agree. So that's your overall question, though, is how are we going to get to them? Well, I think this is what's different, right? Have you ever, in your lifetime, have you ever heard the calling out of all the crimes by any president of all the past administrations? Have you ever heard that either? Like literally full on attack, treason, words like that?
Not even anything close.
Yeah, so that's...
I think that President Trump is the greatest president, and I think a lot of the American people don't even realize how much they actually owe this president, and not only him, but his family, friends, anybody that's, you know, trying to help him. They're all under attack, and the American people, you know, probably close to half of them don't realize just how patriotic and how much he's doing to save this country.
Yeah, well, all right, that's a great question. Me and Ben are going to tackle that. You're our last call for tonight. So for Vermont, thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much for
call back.
We feel your struggles.
Yeah, call back again, but go ahead and keep watching. We're going to tackle your question with the viewers. All right, that was Vermont. That was our last call for the night. That is a good question. I'm going to say this. You're going to see it's hard to determine what's going to happen before everything's done. So that's why we got to keep waiting, unfortunately. But it's kind of like, I'm tired of waiting. Well, we got 2 more years with the guy regardless, or roughly a little under 2 years at this point. So we're going to see some deliverance of things, right? We hear his rhetoric. We've also heard his rhetoric on lots of other areas that have been tackled. The wall one. People are like, he ain't going to build no wall, but he's doing it. Now, it's little attacks like, oh, he said Mexico's going to pay for it, and they're not. But then he talks about, well, I did this deal, and we're doing this, and we're getting more. It's like, oh, wow, that's kind of ingenious. It's like they pay for it in other ways. Well, he didn't tell you that. It's like, okay. But anyway, we're going to see results. So if we don't see arrest, if we don't see these people have never gone down, how do you get to them? They're well protected. Well, these people themselves are very, very scared people. They're very, very weak people. They always use the guise of controlling others to do things for them, and that's maybe going to be taken away. They're not going to have their whole thing relies on power and situational, me and Ben were discussing this, the whole way that Bill was doing speeches when Hillary was Secretary of State, and then, he'd get money, and then money'd go into the Clinton Foundation, and then she'd sign off on deals. It was all for the fact that in 4 years from now, she's going to be president, and we'll get you guys back. But by you paying us now before she's president, you're on our list. Because when we're up there, we don't want to get money from you. It's kind of hard to do. We're under the scrutiny of. I would only imagine that's one of their little scenarios. But you're going to take away some of their leverage, right? Like with Obama, he's not going to be so well insulated anymore. And plus public awareness, their biggest fear is these people won't be able to walk down the street. So I would just imagine here in another couple months, We'll see a lot more. We just need to get this D class rolling. So, what's your thought on that, Ben?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, the D-cross rolling is just was an awesome idea. The fact that we have D-class already come down, we're going to be knowing the whole spying action on the FISA that's been declassed. I think there's a real concern. There's concern in the state that I live in. I know there's concern in other individual states. There's real concern in New York. We've had other callers that were pleading and saying that, man, New York City does not represent New York State. You know, these small microcosm cities in Vermont does not represent those all in Vermont. What's happening, like, you know, things up in Michigan, in Detroit, that does not affect, or it does, but it doesn't represent all of Michigan. And so we see this duality of realities playing out in each state. Some states have more powers to build it out. We have California, who's literally breaking the Constitution by letting illegal immigrants come in and letting them vote and calling it sanctuary city. Like, these whole ideas is getting out of control. And then, like Mike said earlier, when you see a president who's actually calling out crimes against children, human trafficking, and then calling out these states for making, I mean, you haven't really seen a president start calling out, especially like the NSA, FBI, DOJ, CIA. I would say, I guess JFK, he was probably the last one who really attacked not so much conspiracies, but I would say the quote unquote swamp that has been going on for a long time. What would be the conspiracy of those secret societies and conspiring behind closed doors to basically tear down the American government and the American people. And so I would agree with Mike in that aspect of that our president is doing something that I've never seen in my lifetime. And I've been walking this earth since the late 70s. And I've seen a lot of crazy presidential things. And I still haven't seen anything this crazy with what he's doing.
I agree with that. And all we can do is keep waiting. We were just saying it. Come this election, folks, with everything that you got and stored in you now and everything you know and the 2 years of what we've been doing, following and looking at, you're going to be the most, logical thinking. You're not going to vote with the, well, he's really probably the best for the job, but I got to vote this way because of this. Or, I mean, we don't do that, but it's like some people do, and that's what they're being told to do. So you look at result or what he's gotten done and look back and like, what did he say and what has he got done? And then you could even say, man, well, he might have got a lot more done if he wasn't obstructed so far by law-breaking losers. And that's what that article, man, I shouldn't have shut that down, Ben. I don't know.
No, well, you're right.
Article,
I mean, this guy asked a very valid question in Vermont. I mean, what do we do? Where do we go? Well, unfortunately, you have to show your support come election day.
Yes.
And, yes, unfortunately, if you put a Trump bumper sticker on your car, you may go smashed in.
Yeah.
That's the kind of things that's the propaganda. It's the Insurrection Act of the United States.
So it was recently upgraded. Now, it talked about in 05 they were going to use it there, but they ultimately ended up not. There was a restore. What did I see? Notice to Congress. Bringing such.
Was it the major public emergencies, interference with state and federal law?
Yeah, where was it?
Right there under, it's right under B. 4B, it says clerical amendments. A, number
Right here.
4, clerical amendments.
Right here.
That's 2, the proclamation to disperse.
Section 334 of such title is amended by inserting or those obstructing the enforcement of the laws after insurgents. I thought I read something
Right there,
that pretty
the very
much
top.
named right here. Major public.
Where it says 333. major public emergencies, interference with state and federal law, provision of supplies, service, and equipment in general. If such titles admitted adding. So if they mess around, if you start messing with like major public emergencies or with state and federal law enforcement.
This is what I'm saying. Like with when we read some of these sometimes, and there's other people that are like, oh, we don't want martial law, and this isn't martial law, but they'll say it's a form of it, or the other thing's a form of it. But it's like, well, you know what else we don't want? What? People subverting our Constitution. Oh, well, that's how it happening. It's like, you're upset about that. I don't want that. I can scream that somebody subverting my Constitution is just as equally scary as promoting sitting up in Congress and perching up in high perch up in Congress, and then promoting to give your gun up. You don't need yours. That you don't need First Amendment, Second Amendment, and we don't need to enforce our border laws. That's what they're doing. So all that's really, really bad. So if that won, the insurrection is governed to cover a certain article there to remove this filth. What other?
And remember, Mike, you said it critically. If these people are speaking other than what the Constitution says, then that's considered speaking against the United States, right? Speaking against what we believe to hold these truths to be self-evident type stuff.
Yep.
And so if they're saying we don't need borders, well, our Constitution says we do. So what does that mean? Oh, are you?
And you decided to run for a government that you support, typically, so you're supposed to have these things instilled in you. That's the bottom line.
Moles in there. Yeah.
Like, that's the only way, not like, I want to go in and change every bit of policy. It's like, well, there's ways to make some new policy or have a good idea, but not core fundamental things. Like, your guys' sovereignty's gots to go. Like, no.
Wall, no mo. How dare you? So racist of you guys wanting some type of border for your nation, you call this thing.
We appreciate all the call-ins, by the way, all the people that
oh my gosh, you guys are amazing.
Takes us, sometimes you have to get over that fear, but you guys did it. You did it well. But I think we will wrap this up. Any final words or thoughts? Thanks again to Ginger, Vermont. Who else did we have called? Dave. Congratulations. Again, 8 weeks out. We'll be busy. We'll pick up the slack for you. Maybe, on some of the modding and all and whatnot, and catch up when you can. No worries, no problems. There is no.
Oh, Jeff Stewart, big week ahead, winning. Thank you. Yes. I agree the same, man. I think there's a big week ahead, and always, again, man, your guys' donations are super huge, and we definitely use them directly to give you back better content. Really, what you're seeing, excuse me, what you're seeing lately with the phone calls, with us going to these different events and trying to get input to you guys, because honestly, a lot of people asked me why I was hopping on and we were streaming that. And my answer unequivocally was for the veterans who couldn't leave their homes and for whatever reason couldn't get out to honor those fallen in person. So we were there, and a Patriot represented that today. And I think that was something that was really huge. And that literally
did they get it really quickly just by saying that? Did they understand, or did they have any more resistance? Or
oh no, they understood 100%. I mean, yeah, there was no like, hey man, we're doing this for the people, for the veterans. I mean, and we have a lot of veterans that watch your show and watch what we're doing here.
Yeah, I think I only knew the number peaking, getting like at one point I think we were up 300 or 350. But I think that video at this point has 5,000 or 6,000 views. So that's years worth of what would come. I mean, not that that's what matters, but it's like now your event just got a little bit more, eyes on. I don't know.
Maybe next year's Memorial Day event at that cemetery will be huge. Will be bigger. We'll have more people come and support that and want to be a part of it. And Mike and I will try our damnedest to have it covered and be out here on the Patriot Hour for you. And any other cool live events that we have that we feel you guys need to be a part of, we're definitely going to be doing that and doing that a lot.
Yes. All right, Roy, channel. All right, you guys.
Yes.
we are going
Ruth
to
Miller, Rafe Miller, yes.
we will I'll go ahead and say some shout out here. David Sanchez, we are in the fight for our lives. I would agree. I would add our freedom. Our lives is without that we got nothing. So other than that, freedom and liberty, need to keep that. Never give it up.
Ginger D says, ask me if I knows the law. It depends on what body of law you're referring to, and some I do, some I learn, some I'm very well versed in. Just depends on what body we're referring to.
Yes. Did the fool
And
in
Mike
the car
as well.
earlier
Okay,
hit the
Mike
water?
first. Yeah.
Did the fool in the car earlier hit the water? No, he did not. He got to the end of the bridge and stopped. Great Patriot Hour. Thank you guys. Thank you guys and gals. Thumper Rose, Simone Ellis. How? Oh wow,
Jeffrey
we got
Flower,
Captain
are
Owen
you
in the
guys
house.
going to?
Only mod.
You guys
for
going to
Dustin.
DC for the 4th? Huh.
Who's going? What's going? Oh yeah, it's a huge one. I know. We talked about it.
We're
don't know.
hoping. Freedom Fox, hemp jobs. Yeah, it's commercialized now. Thank you to the president. That's kind of a really big thing. It has never happened before either. The whole commercialization.
We're getting
of
so
hemp.
much. It's like too much to cover, and people are focused on like this evil getting rooted out, and we kind of are. We're we follow the method of this to get done, but there's lots of great things that we try to talk about here and there. Maybe we should do that a little more, but pound that in, all the good things, but all of it's almost like fruitless or pointless without getting rid of the evil. Not that it's not
I agree
good.
with you.
It's just that's my main
like-
my main steak. I want to eat my steak first, and then I'll get to the desserts and the.
Yeah, we definitely conquer meat and potatoes first in this show, and then you get to the bells.
Dessert
That's why we
first.
want to be
Remember
dessert first. Real men like dessert first.
that? Real men eat desserts first. Dessert first. Dessert first.
That's how we're going to be giving the
Thank yous.
Mega Trash Twitter Talk Tuesdays. That's our dessert time for us to kind of unwind.
Simone Ellis, a dozen.
Ginger D, the law of what I said. Refresh my mind, Ginger D. I'll answer your question.
Simone
real quick.
Ellis, a dozen for our very own servicemen at the Patriot Hour. Gave us a bunch of roses. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
David Woodruff, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Derek Seaman, another mod there. Unity.
What was that? Was Ginger D one of the call-ins? Is that who it was?
Oh, did
I don't know. I
the law,
don't know if
what'd
I
I
was going
say?
to answer her. Ginger.
Uh,
Ask Mike. Oh, did she call in earlier when I was taking
Oh
the
yeah,
break?
because I told her I wish you were in. She just had some.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
might
See,
be.
this is
what's going
awesome.
on here? Let me see here. That's why I brought up actually the Insurrection Act. She was talking about
Sweet guys.
when this
thanks
goes
for letting us
down.
know.
When this goes down, that Trump will be out of the country. And I was like, that there's certain laws that that, and I don't know, I didn't see it in the Insurrection Act, but I went back to the Q drop and read the first one. Remember that, Ben, where it talked about Q would
Yes.
be highly insulated out of country.
Insulated out of the country when
And that she let it all up. It was actually, I have to go back and watch that part of the video here later tonight or something. But she said, like, right now, he's out of the country. We've had other scenarios like this, but yet we weren't in the stages that we're in now, where all this D-class stuff. But I don't know. I don't know
Okay,
if it's a
well,
little premature. I don't know if we got enough information yet to make it. That's
guess
the
I can
biggest
ask
thing,
this.
right? This is the biggest thing, folks. It's not going to be you out in the street, putting up your fist to one of these people we talk about. It's going to be the local leftists that have gone crazy. That story painted that tonight in the first thing. It's like that made me think, like, that's a real plausible thing because, people are like, well, Trump's been in, he should have got in and arrested Hillary. It's like, well, Trump don't arrest people. It was Trump to get into office, slam her up against the wall, and it doesn't work that way. So we've seen this systematic thing playing out. But anyway, her question basically was
the
that.
question was the any type of legality insulating the president while he is on foreign soil and what's happening here domestically, legally. Not really much. Basically, how I can interpret that word insulated. When you're going, especially across the pond and overseas, you're going to be using like the Air Force One. You're going to be having, multiple Air Force, backup, nice chauffeurs, if you will, in the sky, taking them all the way down to wherever destination they're going. What that does is that things can happen in DC without having any major public blowback. So think about when he says he's insulated, he's going away, so he can't address these issues until he comes back and speaks publicly to the people, right? Because for one, security reasons dictate that when he's in the sky, nobody can knows where he lands and takes and moves and goes. That's a security issue right there. So when he addresses the public in whatever issues that you're wanting him to address, i.e., excuse me, let's hypothetically say he's in France.
Yeah, she was more talking about when this happens that he's got to be out of the country, and there's some kind. I think she cited that she looked at something or she came across something, and then there's actual law. Insulated. Yeah, and I went over that right here. I got that up from earlier, and I read it. POTUS would be well insulated, protected aboard Air Force One and abroad, so overseas. Specific location classified while these operations are conducted due to the nature of entrenchment. Now, she wasn't bringing this post up. She was saying that I think, when she watched something or read something, or there's an actual law that if you're going to, take down other congressional people that have been voted in, and there's all these kind of crazy laws, or there's maybe something that we're missing, we'll have to dig into, that actually says that he must be out of the country when you do this. And that's what she was saying. And she goes, have you heard of that? I was like, no. But that brings me back to a Q post is the only thing that it kind of made me think of. So I raced back to this, but it doesn't say, like you said, now you're breaking down the word insulated and stuff, and it's not really law.
No, that's all hearsay. I guess
insulated. Yeah.
Crime is committed under the Constitutional, one person has to bring charges against another human person, flesh and blood. So if they're trying to bring up charges and he's out of the country, there could be a legal case that he's not there in person to represent or defend himself against a jury of his peers. Now that can have legal grounding because is it a civil charge?
It might be a safety feature that, that way, because they'll try to
all things must stop until he's back in country, then we can proceed legalities.
Or maybe he has to be off the grounds. There might be something to do with
out of the District of Columbia. So there could be. Now, I mean, again,
well, think about it. If the original founders thought pretty well for the constitutions and for us, and that's what we're trying to get back to. Maybe they also thought one out when they did the 1871 that was for the federal government, and they also had their own clauses in there. If this ever goes bad, just like our Constitution, and it has stuff, maybe we have to dig in there a little. Maybe it's in the 1871 Organic Act that it would talk about the president must leave or be out of country or something off the soil of the U.S., and then for the safety of him possibly. I don't know. That way there's no possibility.
That would be something that we can definitely, Ginger D, I appreciate it for reminding us. That's something that I want to look into, because once Mike kind of framed the optics of what you were really truly asking, to my knowledge, and my constitutional law, I understand that, but what you're talking about is more procedural laws of what should happen, how things process, or what they call due process law. And due process law is a little bit different than, let's say, juvenile law, because there's no due process in juvenile law.
This is a POTUS, a president of the United States, and what he operates under. So we definitely have to dig into that. So we don't need to sit here
and so we are
blow any more smoke about that. But hey, Barbara Rooks, thank you for the super chat.
Oh wow, you guys are Jeff Stewart. Where we go one, where we go all.
So read that there, Ben. We'll read these one more time here so we get them back in our head. I had read them earlier.
Okay, POTUS will be insulated, /protected on Air Force One and abroad, specific location classified. While these operations are conducted due to the nature of the entrenchment, it is time to take back our country and make America great again. Let us salute and pray for the brave men and women in uniform who will undertake this assignment to bring forth peace, unity, and return power to the people. It is our hope that this message reach enough people to make a meaningful impact. We cannot yet telegraph this message through normal methods, for reasons I'm sure everyone here can understand. Follow the questions from previous threads and remain calm. The primary targets are within DC and remain at the top on both sides. The spillover in the streets will be quickly shut down. Look for more false flags. Stay alert, be vigilant, and above all, please pray. And we'll say this last one. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Love is patient, love is kind. God bless my fellow Americans. And we all know the old 10, 4, 10, 20.
So,
DJT.
So again, what do you say to that? Like somebody's like, oh, no, we don't want this to happen. We don't want, the people of our military arresting corrupt politicians. We can't allow for that. That's just not right. And that's against laws that I think are right. Well, then it's like, well, how about your border and enforcing that? Yeah, there's a lot of people breaking laws and preaching it up there. So, well, what are you doing about that? Doesn't that scare you that they're subverting your, laws or constitutions or? So yeah, there's kind of a double-sided sword here, folks, on as far as what do you shoot for, the way it is, and to keep getting worse, or what do you
eventually
do?
Become a product of the state.
Yeah.
Or there's a breaking point, and we're going to be here to cover it and break it down as best we know how.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. We've gotten to this before around Christmas, where certain other avenues of social media were coming out saying that martial law is not good and you should never want it as a veteran. And this isn't martial law, and I don't promote martial law. We don't want martial law. But how do you do this, Ben? Like in your best scenario, like with what is going on in this country, is that bad? And is that against the Constitution? And should everyone be worried about that? What's currently going on right now.
Good point of yeah. And should the military arrest people in D.C.? They shouldn't be working on domestic soil. Well,
so you're allowing for the entrenchment? Then it's like our military should never be down at the border, but yet we send our military all over the place. But yet when it comes to our own border, no, go knock off foreign dignitaries using the SEALs covertly in the middle of the night. But don't get rid of our own corrupt, entrenched deep state losers.
Now remember the oath that all of us who've taken the oath and who still keep the oath today to defend America, its Constitution, and the people therein against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now they don't like that word domestic because
we don't have
we've
that.
Been raised foreign.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing, you're like, people argue about the border. Well, we got to stop illegal, we got some bad people coming from down there too. We already got bad people here. And then it's, we got domestic criminals here or up in DC. Nah, they're not. They're all good people, or they're not, you was sure proof. Well, folks, it just in a scenario of, that happens around the world. Yes. So how do you do it? How do you do it, Ben? What do you?
Well, I'm gonna quote what Danuta, who gave a beautiful thank you so much, and I got to read what you said in your super chat. It says the gospel, that's what saves, and he says the gospel. I commend you in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Repent from all sin, stop sinning, and trust resurrected Jesus Yeshua. Then he'll baptize you with his Holy Spirit.
This is saved. Amen.
So I mean, yeah, that's what's going to happen because we know that we're.
I get that, but what about that? So do you just let evil run amok all around you, and while doing this, and then you don't ever stop stuff in DC or arrest people because that's not the right way? Or do we actually fight crime by arresting them with like military or police or what? I mean, we got to have some real result here.
No, hey, you have the armor of God and it has a sword. And if you see people who are literally breaking, because God does say honor the law of the land, not the law of men, but the law of the land. Otherwise, when it
Well,
supersedes
the law of the
God's
land
laws,
is laws that
the
are
law
put
of
out
men.
for the land. That's
by men, yeah.
yeah.
Or, society, things of this nature. But in a nutshell, it's
And that
pretty
kind of
much
tells
like,
you that you won't be wrong by like not, unless maybe laws got really stupid and you knew a lot better. But
well,
generally,
yeah, like in New York, you can kill babies. That's kind of against my
Yeah.
religious beliefs and my morals and values, and non-sovereignty, because I believe that God wanted all of us to be sovereign and not ruled by anybody. And you could debate that left and right, this and that, but the bottom line, I believe, in my opinion, is that you can't, works without faith are dead, and faith without works are dead. I know that God gave me the his armor, and one of the accoutrements is a shield and a sword, defensive, offense. Just from a military mind, this is how we think, and so I know that yes, I know how to be a good defensive Christian, but I know how to offensively. What Mike and I are doing now, we're calling out the darkness and evil, and that's a good positive as well. So pray for us
That's
and pray for
our-
each other.
yes, I agree. So again, somebody just said, yes, I'd love to see our military. We have to remove the evil on, as we see it when it comes about. We remove them with political power using political law. Well, not when they're there and they are the lawmakers and they're the ones. So I think the best bet here is to expose them. Trump's going to declass, show like actual proof of connections and bad things, and then we're all going to be outraged, and we won't mind, on TV if they're having a congressional setting and maybe we see military come in and start arresting. It's like, well, you need to. So you're saying, the law would say this, and then if you get a state that refuses to even call the feds for an illegal when that's the law, I mean, this is getting bad, and it gets to a point of where you can't call the state and be like, you better do what we're telling you, or we're going to call your local police officer there. He probably won't listen. They're not.
Who has
listening.
jurisdiction over the police in your state? The governor.
There you go.
Well, if he has jurisdiction over the police department, can he tell him to go away? But who has jurisdiction over him? Who holds him accountable or her accountable? So this is also why the federal government and the troops in some aspects have to almost take these people at the top level, because your police aren't going to do it. Why? Because they're state police officers. Well, we got the U.S. Marshals.
This is a
yes,
mess.
The U.S.
This
Marshals.
is a mess.
Yes,
that nobody thinks about. They just like to have good talking points of like, we don't want martial law, and this isn't. I wouldn't say this is martial law, the Insurrection Act, but it gives. And there's by the way, I pulled that up and earlier. Right here,
well, just remember, he hasn't corpus.
Right here, we go paste. Oops. A little bit
of code monkey there.
Insurrection. Just to show you this here, and then look at this in the news, dude. Trump to use tremendous power. The Washington Examiner 11 days ago. 10 days ago. Viewpoint. Yes, Trump can invoke the Insurrection Act to deport immigrants. That could be the guys, man. 10 days ago. There's a lot of articles floating here. News.
The Insurrection Act is, yep.
It's all 10, 14, 4 days ago. Oh, no, that's not one.
And why is he using it?
Look at this
because
one.
there is a crisis at the border.
Read this one. Trump is considering deputizing the military as civilian police force. That is terrifying.
But he wanted to come up from the border. Let's see,
so,
who's the Slate? Okay. Yeah, it's a river monster, all right.
Let's see what they say here. Donald Trump presidency marked by cruelty, corruption, and dissident for the rule of law. So Trump has a dissident for the rule of law. Has it been disastrous for our democracy? If there is one silver lining, that is Trump's abuse have exposed weakness in our laws and institutions that we were previously hidden, and which we can now begin to try to fix. So they're pitching that any of the little, that we need to get rid of the, powers that he can do. We learned about one such weakness in February when Trump relied on the National Emergency Act to a commandeer funding Congress had specifically denied for construction of border wall. The latest such legal loophole is another emergency power that could enable the president to turn the military into his own immigration police force. According to a report in the Daily Caller last week, the Trump administration is considering invoking the Insurrection Act to give federal troops the power to detain and remove undocumented immigrants in the United States, acting essentially as immigration and customs agents, enforcement agents. The White House, when asked about the option last week, refused to rule it out.
So think about this, guys. Think about they're trying to paint him in a bad light, but what is he trying to do? Get out illegal aliens, those who are committing crimes. Why can he do this? Because crimes are being committed. This isn't craziness. He's
so
using
somebody
this
last
to
night,
protect us.
I don't know what I was watching, but it was a little battle about that, and the one person was like, yeah, and then blah blah, and the immigrant, and they were talking about how something was being broken and how these people were being, he's like, and that's funny considering that they're here illegally. And you're missing that's a law breaking thing. You just subvert right past it to get into what Trump's doing and all these other people and how they're really hurting your feelings. But yeah, you want to talk about all the law breaking unless it's you doing it or promoting for it. So the Insurrection Act is an expectation to the rule enshrined in the Posse Comitatus Act that the president may not use the military as a domestic police force. Posse Comitatus, in the words of one former Defense Department official, reflects one of the clearest political traditions in Anglo-American history, that using military power to enforce the civilian law is harmful to both civilian and military interest. Deploying soldiers as police force officers not only violates democratic sensibilities, it increases the risk that interactions with civilians could go disastrously wrong, as armed forces are not trained in conducting law enforcement activities. On the flip side, every soldier engaged in law enforcement is being pulled away from the military priorities. Despite this strong tradition, this is just a hit piece article, so I'm reading.
Well, I can say this. It's interesting. They're saying it's like, what is he doing? He's only doing this to those who are not supposed to be here. They're here illegally. Of course, he's not going to pull habeas corpus or the Posse Comitatus Act, and he's not going to try to
think about
have
it.
military.
Why is that? Did he write that
civilians.
law? When did that come up? And why does it talk about to enforce rules and law and all this stuff? And it's like we had a clear case of it. It's like, are there law that they don't say it that way, but when you're up there debating, you can look at is there laws on? Well, yeah, but there is laws, and they're not being enforced, and you're pushing for it to not be enforced. That's almost like
Your sanctuary cities are is a spit in the face of the Insurrection Act. All this stuff.
And then he looks at that. Nobody's ever used it. And that's the Trump administration reportedly plans to use a tremendous powers of a 212-year-old Insurrection Act. They look at that 212-year-old. Well, what would you say about my Constitution? 220-year-old piece of garbage, because that's what they're saying by where we're at today. And people say that this is scary. We don't want to go that way. Well, everything that hasn't been handled is scary. Everything that's been trampled upon on my Constitution is scary. And it's all right here, right now. I'm living amongst it. I'm living, I'm hearing the echoes of idiocracy through all of it. It's nothing makes sense. The people are on TV just rambling, and they'll attack the one person for the exact same damn thing that they just did 2 minutes before. And then when questioned about that, they say, well, that's different. That's because it's me doing it. Yeah, it gets really wild. And this is what happens when you have a bunch of people subverting your Constitution and trying to run rogue. So, hey, that's, I don't know. I don't know what other way to root people out or, who's going to do it.
If you understand, go beyond the headlines, what's actually happening here is he's using laws that were put into place to prevent such degradation of our Constitution and our sovereignty. Why is he doing this for the troops to go over there and kick out the illegals that are coming over here in massive numbers? Because it's infringing and it's starting to crumble our sovereignty as a country. And when the states can't handle it, and we know California is not handling it. Now, Arizona's having a real hard time handling it. Now, New Mexico, they got a wall. They're having a great time handling it.
Yeah.
Kind of
I'll tell
interesting.
you, I'm going to put it like this, just because it's on my mind, folks. I'm going to put it like this. We have only always had to listen. Me and Ben were talking about this, like to every politician. We don't really know them. We've only had the TV, and that's what people have told you in the past. You listen to all of them, you know, maybe the Democrat, the Republican, and you listen to hopefully who's saying the best stuff. But everyone, they all lie. Well, here we got this guy Trump from the get-go calling out this evil system. It's a vast. It includes the Clintons, the cover-ups, the State Department, all the way up to these people, and he's been calling it out. And he gets in all his promises. He's been trying to get started, and we're seeing the obstruction. But, you know, people will still, on that side, typically say, he didn't get it done. Well, it's like, well, because you're standing in the way. I know, but still, he didn't get it done. That's how they like to act. On our side, we're not in his way, but we kind of judge, like, he's not getting stuff done. It's like, well, yeah, because this ain't going on. They're not letting him. Don't you see that? And they're like, yeah, but still, you know, I just want to see stuff get done. I don't want to hear all the answers of why. So for the first time, we got somebody that said a lot of words, and it seems to me he's been fucking keeping it. That's logic to me. I heard it. I'm seeing it. We're seeing him still call out. Is he on TV calling out all of you people that are worried, the people out in America, like, yeah, we don't want military coming around because they're going to come to me to get my gun. That's what those people are worried about. But that's not what he's saying he's going to do. And you're going to say, I don't want to believe him. Well, as he kept his word so far. That's where I'm judging. It seems like the only plausible plan to root out the evil. I would rather trust what he's saying, that they're going to come in quick. It's not a martial law, but it's promoting them to go arrest these bad people, because that's exactly what he's been calling out. If this is some dubious plan to get the military, why would they even tell us? But, you know, just have them come in and start doing everything the opposite way. Is not just arresting the bad people that we think. It's going to be all of us and then taking all of our guns away. Then that's the way it goes. We just got there that much quicker because that's where we're headed anyway. So if this is a dubious plan that Trump's going to, you know, not do what he said for the first time, and this whole 2 years, he's getting the wall built a little here, calling out all these bad people, but it's all just a big plan to get the martial law type Insurrection Act, and then to, you know, not root out the evil and not get rid of the immigrants like he's saying, but to, you know, come at us. Then hell with it, because that was our last chance, because we're already heading there without him, with the last president. And if we would have got Hillary in, we'd be at World War III with Russia right now. So might as well go for it. Roll the dice.
Hey, we're the only country that still has freedom of speech, 100%. Even if it's been shadow banned and censored, we still have it. And we can still own firearms to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. We're the only one.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah. This is it. We are the last great hope. There's nowhere to run to. All the people running here, I get it. I know why they're coming, and I know they're not all bad, and I don't have an issue. Come here legally. We're gonna get that going again. That we've taken millions a year. That'll never stop. We want people. We want hardworking, good people to come here from all around. We are a nation full of immigrants at this point. We always have been. But folks, we got rules. We got laws. You can't do things like that forever. How you did something 300 years ago or however, you know, people crash the shores on this there too, but you do things differently now, and everyone's got laws. Most people have worse strict laws than we do for our borders. So I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's shut this down. We went on a lot longer. This is almost a 3-hour awesome podcast, you guys. Awesome.
Man. I mean, we're not leaving out of here, going back and keeping it going because of you guys. You stuck with us, and I just want to say thank you. My final words is God bless you guys. Keep us in your prayers. We keep you in our prayers. Pray for our president. You know, smash the likes up, thumbs up button, share this video, subscribe. Mike and I will have a lot more content coming out and a lot more good stuff, man. Lots of love. And again, keep on rocking, you guys, because things are happening, and they're happening big time.
They are. And somebody said it earlier, big booms this week possibly. I mean, I don't know. We don't really predict on things like that. I mean, be vigilant, right? Get your little daily doses in. Keep connecting your dots. never take what we say here to be 100% word and truth. We are all going through this together. We read many articles, many different perspectives out there, tidbits of information from the internet, from Intel, tons of different sources, and we're going to hear bad things all the time. There is disinformation out there, and you have to use your discernment and your best judgment and land on what you think is right and what's mashing up with what's going on in real time. It's all we can do. So again, God bless each and every one of you. Awesome. Thanks for a great show. Memorial Day. Did great honoring the vets, fallen past veterans,
heroes,
or heroes and sheroes of this country. So again, we love you guys. Ben,
I salute you, brother.
all right,
I salute all you guys and our fallen heroes. God bless.
God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you guys back here on the next Patriot Hour update. Thanks to all the mods, and we'll see you guys here real soon.